I'm First Alert meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your forecast. Scattered rain and storms are likely tonight. Some of them could be strong with gusty winds. Those storms will diminish overnight, will be dry by morning as we drop to 72 degrees. For Monday, we'll start the day mostly cloudy, becoming mostly sunny in the afternoon and cooler with a high of 84. Partly cloudy Monday night, we'll drop to 68. And then for Tuesday, mostly sunny and dry with a high of 89 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
Let's get moving, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Happy Monday to you. Yes, I hope you had a nice break over the weekend, and we get to do it all over again, whatever it is for you. And yeah, I know there was some headline news that happened over the last couple of days. We're going to get to all of it. Of course, you got your chance to get involved. As always, social media platforms, also 314-912-1019. Heading into the next round of elections, the general election really comes with not just campaigning, which obviously is going to ramp up here pretty quick, but on the Missouri side of things, and I guess on the Illinois side too, but on the Missouri side, you have to ask the question, what was learned from the primary elections? Lieutenant Governor David Wassinger joined us on Friday's show. He joined us out at Mario's Donut Restaurant in St. Charles and gave us his take on not just what Republicans and conservatives should be learning from the massive defeats of Amendments 4 and 5, but also what the lawmakers he thinks should be prioritizing as we head into the 2027 legislative session, because you know that folks on the left are really excited about those big losses, and they're hoping to sort of curtail the other big conservative things that are on the table right now. Well, here's our conversation with Lieutenant Governor David Wassinger. From one election to another, including trying to figure out for a lot of those on the right, what went wrong in those great big losses. So where does Missouri go from here? Where do the Republicans go from here? Where do conservatives go from here? We are now joined here at Mario's Donut Restaurant by Lieutenant Governor David Wassinger. Really appreciate you being on, David.
Thank you for having me. The first time I'd been here, they offered me a free donut when I walked in, so it doesn't get any better than that. So
That's
I got
right.
a cup of coffee and a free donut. So we give our first-time customers free donuts. So what a great place.
That was not a political donation. It goes to everybody who comes out for the first time.
Every first-time customer. So that's exactly. They had no idea who I was. They were like, the gal goes, "You've never been here before?" We always give first-time customers free
and
donuts.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it is. It really, really is good.
Okay, let me start with, before we get into the upcoming midterm elections, Republicans, conservatives, things like, initiative petition reform, and then obviously the question over tax cuts. Amendments 4 and 5, I don't want to rehash and kind of do another autopsy on those as far as what went wrong, but let me frame the question a little differently. What should Republicans learn from this? Because as I recall, you being the lieutenant governor, you were the only statewide elected official that I remember not getting on board with Amendment 5. What did you see in it, and what do you hope that Republicans and conservative activists learned from that thrashing that they took back in August?
Mike, it's not real complicated. You go to places like Mario's Donuts. I mean, you come here, you talk to people. I travel the state a lot. I come to places like this donut shop. I just travel the state, and I will ask them, what do you think of this? I think, and I would include myself in, everyone wants tax reform, and that can maybe include repealing the income tax. But they wanted to hear, so what's on the back end of this thing? How are you going to backfill this? And the messaging on that was just terrible. And whoever drafted that amendment, and that would include Amendment 4 and 5, I'm not so sure they intentionally drafted it to fail. I mean, I could handwrite an amendment on the back of a napkin and get 15% of the vote.
Sure.
I mean, these were just very poorly drafted. And then there's a disconnect. So what I would recommend to statewide office holders and other legislators, get out and meet the people. Go to Mario's Donuts, talk to people, see what they think. I heard from hundreds, maybe thousands of people, and it just wasn't resonating. And I would go back and ask them to give me better messaging on how the back end, and it just, it just wasn't resonating. And I think people are open to income tax repeal, tax reform, but they want answers on the back end as to how you're going to answer, that revenue reform, or better yet, cutting state government.
Right.
I'm all for that.
Well, there's this thing that we're called the show me state, and I think you just hit on something, Lieutenant Governor, is that people want to understand and have a clear concept of what they're being asked to vote on. I mean, we would think with the constitutional amendment, issue, the IP reform amendment 4, that they would be on board with that because of the fact that right now it's so easy to change and amend our Constitution, and yet there was this reluctance and this sort of skepticism. And I think it's because, as you said, it's not clear and simple and straightforward.
Yeah, on Amendment 4, that was how you changed the Constitution. It was flawed for a few different reasons. One, you dual track this thing. You allow the politicians an easier way to change the Constitution, whereas the citizenry. And secondly, you gave St. Louis City veto power. So there was a conservative citizen-led initiative, whether it be 20 years from now, that comes about. You have to get 8 of 8 congressional districts. So that means the city of St. Louis has veto power as to whether or not these conservatives 20 years from now can amend the Constitution. Again, this thing was both of them were so inartfully drafted, and all you had to do was travel the state. You could come here to Mario's Donuts, talk to 5 different tables, get their thoughts, and you would have immediately, you don't need to do these, flawed polls or anything. You just come to Mario's Donuts and talk to people.
Right.
We are visiting with Lieutenant Governor David Wassinger. Okay, so then let's get to the where do we go from here part, because at one hand, I could see some lawmakers shoving this out the back door the way that right to work is dead for a long time here in Missouri? Or do they say there's an appetite to do this, just not in this way? Because we know what the media is going to say if somebody suggested an income tax or somebody says, no, we still have to follow up with initiative petition reform. So what do you say even to those lawmakers who say, well, we got beat bad, move on to other things, even though these are important things as far as the prosperity and the future of the state?
Yeah, and again, I don't want to lose sight. We've got an amendment coming up, Amendment 3, which is the pro-life in November, so I don't want to lose sight of that constitutional amendment. That one, unlike the other ones, has a lot of grassroots, a lot of support, so you could talk to folks in this restaurant, and they are going to be pro-Amendment 3. So I would encourage everyone, first and foremost, in November, vote for Amendment 3. That is first and foremost. And this is a guy that did not come out either way, but did not I'm publicly coming out and saying, please support Amendment 3. As to initiative petition reform, I've told you, this thing, my Missouri Constitution has morphed into something the size of a Holy Bible. And what I'm concerned about is these consultants and these career politicians and lobbyists drafted this to intentionally fail. And they can say, we checked the box, it didn't quite go the way we wanted it to, but we gave it a good college try. I think, and again, I visit a lot of people in Missouri. I think there's a strong desire for initiative petition reform in Missouri, just not the garbage that was drafted and put in Amendment 4.
It needs to be well structured. Obviously, the legislature doesn't come back until January, but I'm sure that there are already plans about what their agenda items are going to be, what they're going to be focusing on. What would you just like to see? What would you suggest that you could see that our lawmakers focusing on in this next term?
Well, here's one thing that's developed even over the last day. It's a little insider baseball, but we just had an election of some state senators in this past time. There were some upsets, and what that's going to cause is it's going to be a free-for-all for Senate majority leadership and other. The Senate leadership, I think, now a few people have tossed. So I don't know if that's going to be resolved prior to the November elections. They meet right after the November elections, so I'm not sure we'll know who Senate leadership is until after the November elections. So once we determine Senate leadership is, I don't know, it's happened in past years. I hope there's not some bitter and resentment among these senators because, they will sit there and try to lobby their other senators to get this leadership post. And then, that resentment or bitterness, if they don't get it, just carries on to the legislative session. That very well could happen. I'm hoping it doesn't. So we'll know a lot more of our issues and challenges. One thing about Amendment 5 not passing, had it passed, again, you have to backfill as to how you're going. That would have consumed the entire legislative calendar. So that every lobbyist, every special interest would have been seeking an exemption from the type of sales tax or use tax or consumption tax, which is another reason I think Missouri just didn't resonate. Trust Jeff City to go fill in the blanks after this. They're not going to trust Jeff City.
All right. Once again, we're visiting with Missouri Lieutenant Governor David Wassinger. Okay, so a lot of times what happens in the legislature is the art of the possible.
It's like what can be done at this point. And that's the frustrating thing, like with the initiative petition reform, because that's something we were demanding for year after year after year. And we got after the Republicans for not delivering it. And you go back to the Caleb Brown versus Bill Eigel feud that happened and derailed a lot of that. But when you look at, say, okay, what can be done, because you're going to have some sheepish lawmakers who don't want to tread and get in the crossfire of media. You're the president of the Senate, of the state Senate, by your position here. What is it that you want to see lawmakers prioritize, even if it's bold and even if they have to explain themselves after these midterm elections? They want to ask you about some of the tourist stuff that's going on around the state.
Property tax reform. So both real estate property tax reform and personal property tax reforms. Frankly, I think the entire tax structure in Missouri needs to be revised. That includes personal property tax, real estate property tax, income tax. I'm not opposed to doing away with the income tax. I just thought this Amendment 5 was just so inartfully drafted, as we've discussed, and I sound like you agree. You just can't trust Jeff City to backfill this thing. So I think there's a strong desire still for some tax reform, particularly real estate, just a global look at our tax structure. I advocate for Missouri seniors. I think we had pushed some for protection of Missouri seniors. I think one of the things he had carved out for, frankly, the nursing home lobby, insurance lobby, probably cost him the election down at Spring, or one of the things that cost him the election down at Springfield, because the lobbyist got a hold of him. So I still would like to advocate for issues. We've got a senator out here, Schnelting, and Senator Adam Schnelting. He and I have been pushing from real strong senior issues. So that's another issue, and we advocate for seniors out of our office. So that's near and dear to my heart.
Absolutely. So you said, obviously you're out talking with people and getting their pulse on what issues are motivating them. It seems to me that the energy right now, big time, is around data centers. How does the state, how does the legislature, how do government officials tackle that issue in a way with foresight?
Well, I tell you what, I think we literally just in the last 5 minutes walking around, I think I saw the state representative that just proposed some guidelines. I don't know if he's still here. Literally was just here 5 minutes ago.
Everybody's here.
Provide for guidelines for data centers. So I think people are starting to hear, you can't let these big tech companies, they've lost. I don't think you can trust them. So there certainly need to be some really, really high guardrails to the extent you even have data centers. So the state representative that was just walking around here, I think has proposed a 12-point plan, which I won't go into detail as to the guardrails for data centers.
All right, what do you think? You agree? You disagree? 314-912-1019. The Congressman Bob Onder scheduled to be with us right around 7:35 today, so we'll get an update on what's happening in Washington, D.C. as well. It's all coming your way here on this Monday on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Talk about race relations.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
And I'm sick and tired of it.
101.9 and 94.1.
I find it to be a conversation starter.
News Talk STL.
There's always something to celebrate in Augusta, Missouri, just 1 hour from St. Louis. Every season brings festivals and special events you won't want to miss. Hop the free trolley to 10 wineries in America's first wine district. Bike the Katy Trail and explore historic small-town charm. Make Augusta your next getaway. Find events and cozy B&Bs at visitaugusta-chamber.org.
Coming soon, the return of the Defiance Roadhouse. Located on Highway 94 along the Missouri River, this long-standing fixture is known for its biker-friendly atmosphere, live music, and decades as a beloved community gathering place. Rev your engines and stand by for the grand opening, early September. The Roadhouse is back.
Fall means the return of Mizzou football. And this year promises another great season of SEC action. There's no better place to catch every game than Harpo's in Chesterfield. With its excellent sports bar atmosphere and the best patio in West County, Harpo's is your Tiger headquarters. Harpo'sSTL.com.
Every 40 seconds, a child disappears. That's 2,000 children every single day. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization fighting to bring them home, but we can't do it without you. Your unwanted car, running or not, can help find missing kids, reunite families, and support the search and rescue efforts that protect children every day. We'll pick it up fast and free with a 24-hour response, and your donation may qualify for a tax deduction. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help locate missing children and educational programs that teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators before it's too late. Together, we can give families hope and bring children home where they belong. Donate your car today and help bring a child home. Find the Children, because every child deserves to come home.
800-757-1340. 800-757-1340. That's 800-757-1340.
This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today.
800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380. Paid for by U.S. Med.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You know, when in doubt, promise free stuff and call everybody racist.
Yeah.
It is the Democratic way, right?
Never fails, does it?
No, it doesn't. No, I saw this clip of Congressman Ro Khanna over the weekend. He did this like long sit-down interview with NPR's video podcast. I don't know if it aired on their air or not, but I didn't bother to sit and read or watch the thing for 40 minutes. I read NPR's article on it. Then I went and looked up Ro Khanna's Substack. And so basically he's going back to my grandparents' generation saying we need a new Deal.
A new Deal.
Right. How many, now I know that you know what the New Deal is. You're an educated guy. How many people, say your age and younger, and you're 31 now, are well-versed in the New Deal history?
Oh, I would say that among those that actually know what it was and the consequences of it.
I mean, overall, who know what it is, the consequence, and who even know what it is.
Are aware of it would probably be more of the people that are aligned with the DSA sort of propaganda.
Yeah.
And I would also argue that they probably don't know the full context and the full impact that the New Deal had on America's, trajectory at the time. So I'm going to say probably less than 30%.
Yeah, I think 30% is probably generous.
I would absolutely imagine so.
I mean, in my generation, it's going to be, I'm Gen X. We grew up on the knee of our grandparents, who either loved it or hated it.
Yeah.
My family, it would have been hated it. And I had one set of grandparents, very conservative Republican, another set of grandparents, very conservative, but Union Democrat up until later in life when then they switched over and they couldn't stay with the Democrats anymore. But, my mom's dad was a steel mill worker, and he was a coal miner before that, very blue collar, and then, things changed. Okay, so Ro Khanna writes in his Substack, because I'm thinking, why is he calling for a multiracial New Deal to save democracy? I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And so the NPR article didn't say anything about that. I did a search. I couldn't find it. So finally I went to his Substack, and there he's listing out what his version of a New Deal would be. And I don't know what it has to do with race, but it was basically a whole bunch of free stuff. free everything. And then he's got a really weird one, and we'll go into this in more depth around 620, is if you work for 7 years, then you have a right.
A right.
A right.
Ooh.
To buy a house with zero down.
Hmm.
Because that's the role of government.
Did he specify which roles you have to work in for 7 years?
No, you just have to work for 7 years. Then you have a right.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, listen, both parties have come up with some pretty stupid housing policy ideas.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, really stupid housing policy ideas. Don't get me wrong. This one may be dumber.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think anybody rational is a fan of the 50-year mortgage idea.
That was terrible.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I forgot about that. That wasn't even one of the dumbest ones I thought of. That was terrible.
Yeah, no, it means
that was economically illiterate.
You're going to be renting for your entire lifetime, and then hope that you can still afford to pass the house on to somebody else.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Now with this one though, I mean, I'm not trying to knock anybody's occupations, but didn't we see something similar when Bill Clinton was trying to force through a lot of these subprime mortgages?
Yeah.
That then inevitably led to the housing bubble, which then collapsed and caused a major financial crisis?
That was part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big part of it, yeah. So this one here basically is, he wants to be socialist adjacent. As Susie has pointed out, younger generations don't think of the word, they don't recoil in horror like Dracula from a cross at the word socialist the way that my generation and older did. And so he's trying to cozy up to them just close enough to get them to like him, but not too close to get common sense Democrats to stay away from me. And by the way, and I've got this in the news dump here in a little bit, so it's going to be like an hour before we get to it. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear doing the rounds on TV. He's starting to make his move.
Ooh.
You know, and here's the thing, two things. I've said this before, I'll say it again. And my Democratic friends out there, you tell me whether you agree or you disagree. It's your party, not mine. But Andy Beshear is electable. Mm-hmm. He may be the most electable Democrat out there. So that's my point one. Point two, and I've said this before, and again, I'll say it again, I don't think the Democrats are smart enough to nominate him.
Which is kind of a saving grace. I mean, it's unfortunate is to say that. That's really the trajectory that the Democrats have been on for the past few years at least, is that there are candidates that the Republican side would say, wow, like, please no, this might be an actual legitimate person. And then the Democrats just don't have that mentality. They don't have the rationality to realize that this is their golden goose. And so they pass them over.
You know, for a party that hates guns so much, they sure do shoot themselves in the foot a lot.
You're not wrong.
I'm just saying. I'm not wrong. Okay. So let's go into that a little more. Let's say 620. I want to do the 620 because I've got this soundbite from Ro Khanna, and you know he's looking at all pensive, and it's like, well, you know, I'm a thinker. And you're like, what did you just say? That was a lot of words. But what did you just say? Okay. Also 605 here. A lot of attention is going to be on Amendment 3, obviously, in the November election. On Missouri, that may be the only thing that gets attention. Is Amendment 3. But did you know there are 3 amendments that we're going to be voting on? Yeah. You looked at me like legitimately like, what?
Well, I knew about Amendment 3, but what are the other
There are 2 other amendments on the ballot that we're going to be deciding statewide. Now, remember, and these are going to be 50% plus 1 on this. And one of these would be a massive change to how the state government finances itself, with an attempt to get rid of taxes altogether at some point. So I'll tell you what that is. Essentially the author, the guy who put this together, the state legislature, is going to be on the show with us tomorrow to kind of explain. I saw this and I went, wait a minute, what? You know, I do this for a living and I didn't even know that we had these other things on the ballot. And so I looked it up and I read it and I'm like, oh, that sounds like Senator Adam Schmelting. And then I go look up. And yep, sure enough, he was the one who was pushing this, and I saw his social media, and so I texted him, and he's going to be on the show tomorrow. But we'll give you the basic details because we're going to go to the statewide ballot with a very, very low bar to passage for a state constitutional amendment. And my fear is that most voters are going to show up and not know what they're looking at to make that decision. And here's the thing: we can only tell you that for those who subscribe to and listen to conservative media, watch conservative media. But the reality is that the majority of voters are simply going to show up and go, what? What's this? I don't get it.
Well, and that's not trying to put our job on others, but that's why it's so important to have these conversations with the peoples in your lives. So
Yeah.
they
Oh,
know
totally.
what they're showing up for.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll give the details. And listen, I'm not taking a position on the one way or the other. I'm just saying know what you're going to be voting on so you can make up your own mind on it. But we'll get that ball rolling for you at 6:05. Let's do that.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Jamie Allman, the news business has totally changed from when you started.
Yeah, it really drives me crazy about the whole way in which they replace anchors. Like if a woman gets old, if she gets over 40, they send her packing. You can look like Jabba the Hutt as a man and still be an anchor on local news. I don't understand that, but it's not fair.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Dreaming about a vacation but not sure where to start? Should you book that all-inclusive resort or a cruise? Which destination? What cruise line? And how do you know you're getting the best value? That's where Magic Expeditions comes in. We're your St. Louis local travel experts, helping you choose the vacation that fits. Whether a relaxing, adults-only escape, family-friendly resort, or unforgettable cruise adventure, skip the stress, the guessing, and endless online searching. Visit magicexpeditions.com. That's magicexpeditions.com.
Lower your car payment today. Lower your car payment today. Yes, you heard us right. You can lower your car payment right now by making this free call and save up to $1,400 a year on your current car payments. Think about your current car payment right now. What's that costing you per year? Now think about what it would be like to put an extra $1,400 back in your pocket. That's the average savings our customers experience. We can help you drive the same car and pay less every month by lowering your car payment's interest rate to as low as 4.67%. At Rate Genius, we can work with you to refinance any car payment. If you qualify, it costs you nothing to find out how you can lower your car payment. To learn more, call this number right now.
800-493-5670. 800-493-5670. 800-493-5670. That's 800-493-5670. People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rates you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Indiana mourns the loss of 7 people, a 4-year-old boy among them, in historic flooding triggered by days of torrential rains. After battering Hawaii, Hurricane Lala weakened to a tropical storm, leaving behind damaged infrastructure, homes and businesses wrecked, and hundreds of thousands of power outages. When it comes to illegal immigration, what a difference a president makes.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt taking to her Truth Social page, alerting to the incredible numbers at our southern border with Mexico. She writes, daily apprehensions at the border are down 94% compared to former President Joe Biden's administration and are at the lowest level seen in 30 years.
Correspondent Laura Winters. Mideast negotiator Jared Kushner is meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu following Kushner's sit-down with the Hamas chief in Egypt. President Trump has ordered a scaling back of the traditional joint U.S.-South Korea military exercises now getting underway.
Seoul considers the joint exercise core to its alliance with the U.S. They have been held nearly every year since the Korean War. Mr. Trump broke from tradition when he suspended the drill after his first meeting with Kim Jong-un in 2018, and they didn't resume until 2022. North Korea has been refusing to speak to both Washington or Seoul since 2019. The central government may find a silver lining, however. They have been flattering Mr. Trump as peacemaker in the hopes that he will divert his attention back from the Middle East and Ukraine.
The BBC's Jay Kwan in Seoul. The 60-day deadline for an agreement to end the Iran war and resolve the dispute over its nuclear program expires as of today. There is no agreement to end the war, and apparently there is nothing on the horizon. On Wall Street, Dow futures are down 63 points. The Nasdaq futures up 168. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Are you carrying more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Do you feel like you're running on a financial treadmill, making payment after payment, month after month, yet never getting ahead? If you're tired of watching your hard-earned money disappear into interest charges, there may be options available to help you take back control of your finances. At Total Financial Freedom, they'll show you what qualified consumers may be able to save through programs designed to help them resolve debt faster than making minimum payments alone. The consultation is free, confidential, and comes with absolutely no obligation. Why spend years, sometimes decades, paying thousands in interest when there may be a better path forward? Total Financial Freedom is a Christian-owned company that has helped thousands of Americans pursue financial freedom for nearly 20 years and is proudly A+ rated and accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now and ask how you can receive a complimentary copy of The Debt Dietitian. Stop running in place. Start moving toward financial freedom at 866-844-7344. 866-844-7344.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
After 10 straight days with highs in the 90s and 8 straight days with a triple-digit heat index, the pattern finally breaks today. A cold front moved through overnight, triggered some storms along the way, but that rain's gone and it took the heat along with it. A high of only 84 this afternoon under a mix of clouds and sun. Mostly clear tonight, down to 68, then a little warmer Tuesday, 88 under mostly sunny skies. Next chance of rain and thunderstorms arrives Tuesday night into Wednesday with on and off wet weather Thursday, too. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Business owners, download your free playbook for financial clarity at SerenityWealthBiz.com. That's SerenityWealthBiz.com.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with this free call. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
I just would like to get your comments on that.
I'm so glad that you're on the radio, and I want to thank you for that.
I'll tell you why.
1019 and 94.1.
I love these people. St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Mike Ferguson.
Shut this sucker down.
Susie Moore.
I disagree on his assessment of the situation.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
You're not supposed to lie, but you're definitely not supposed to lie when you're under oath.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, we're going to start off with one of those did you know things.
Okay.
What are we voting on in November on the Missouri side?
Well, the general election candidates.
Correct.
Which isn't a big
suspenseful thing for most of them.
For most races. And
Amendment 3.
Right. Did you know there are 2 other constitutional amendments on the ballot?
I did not, but I bet I'm going to find out
You're
about them.
about to find out about them. And I was just kind of doing background stuff and searching, and I saw somebody mention Amendment 7. And I'm like, well, what in the world is Amendment 7?
First I'm hearing of it.
Yeah, that's the problem. We do this for a living, and I did not know about Amendment 7 until yesterday. And that was because I happened to see somebody mention it on social media, and then I went and did a little digging, and there's actually 2 other amendments. There are 3 constitutional amendments Missourians are voting on in November.
Okay.
And my guess is that a lot of people are going to go into voting with really strong opinions on Amendment 3, one way or the other.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe no clue about the other 2 amendments.
Well, I guess it's up to us to inform them.
Let's start right now.
Okay.
Now, let me also kind of back up a little bit on this, and Jerome and I touched on this just a second ago, is that Jerome mentioned, he goes, it's kind of up to us to tell people about this, meaning everybody who's part of the News Talk family, and that's you who are watching and listening right now. And that is, and I haven't come up with an opinion on the other two measures.
Okay.
I haven't decided if I'm going to vote for him or against him. Matter of fact, Senator Adam Schnelting, it turns out, was essentially the driving factor behind Amendment 7, which I'll tell you about here in a second. He's going to be on the show tomorrow.
We've got time.
Yeah.
It's August.
Exactly. But still, you look at how many people did not know the basics of, say, Amendment 4.
Yes.
It's going to be that times 10 for these other ones.
Okay.
Now, I don't, again, it passes, it doesn't pass, that's not going to, it's not going to have me lose any sleep, but you want to be in a situation where people know what they're voting on.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here we are here. So Amendment 3, I don't need to go into that. We all know, what's at stake in Amendment 3, and we're going to have lots of conversations.
Choose life.
Yeah, we're going to have lots of conversations about that. So Amendment 7, this would, if passed, create a permanent public endowment fund by essentially investing in the S&P 500 mutual funds, so investing in the market with the idea that that endowment fund grows enough to eliminate state-imposed taxes.
Investing what?
Investing taxpayer money into a basic giant investment account, depending on whatever the legislature wants to do, a little, a lot. And as it grows over time, the dividends from that would be then required to be used to eliminate taxes.
Is this?
I see the little thing moving. Like, okay, this is a big deal, and it's like going to hit people out of the.
Why
blue.
do we have extra funds to invest?
That's a very good question, and it doesn't say how much is supposed to be invested. It would be up to the legislature to say, here's what we can afford, here's what we're going to invest, a little bit, a lot.
I mean, why not just not take my money and let me invest it and spend it as I see fit?
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Right. I think it's a fair question.
So...
Yeah, here's the fair ballot language. It's kind of lengthy, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. A yes vote will amend the Missouri Constitution to establish the Show Me Prosperity Fund, a permanent public endowment fund to support state government with the goal of eliminating state-imposed taxes without impairing the real value of the fund's principal. Goes on to say, another goal is prohibit the General Assembly from appropriating or diverting monies from the fund until notification is given by the state treasurer that the net investment earnings of the fund are sufficient to eliminate state-imposed taxes. Another goal, cap the total amount of monies that may be appropriated from the fund in a fiscal year to 3% of the average market value of the fund over the preceding 5 fiscal years. See, this is getting complicated already.
Yes, it is.
Another goal. Prohibit the General Assembly from enacting the eliminated state-imposed taxes, provided, however, that in the event of the fund is unable to meet its obligation. Okay, so I'm reading the thing, and I'm Adam Schnelting can hopefully explain some of this tomorrow to us. You did the pose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did the pose. Did you
My
see
body language.
She did the pose.
It's kind of giving it away.
Yeah, it is here. It says a no vote will not amend the Missouri Constitution to establish a permanent public endowment fund to support state government with the goal of eliminating state-imposed taxes. If passed, the measure will have no immediate impact on taxes, but could lead to the elimination of state-imposed taxes if the net investment earnings of the fund become sufficient to support the outcome.
Hey, I like the idea of doing away with state-imposed taxes.
Sure.
Like, sign me up, except for the fact that you're saying we have to take your money in order to make you the money so that we don't have to take your money anymore.
You just boiled everything that's on this great big thing down to 2 lines.
Susie's fair ballot language.
Yeah.
No. Just quit taking my money. I don't need you to cycle through it for me. I don't need you to launder it for me. Quit taking it. That's my reaction. Sorry, Adam. No offense.
What do you think, Jerome? How's it strike you at first?
I'm with Susie. I mean, I think that is a very adept and accurate way of, on face value, interpreting that. I don't know why it is the government's responsibility to take money from us to put it into some sort of investment fund to then get dividends to reduce the taxes they already took from us. Why not let us keep our own money, make our own decisions for us? And then, because history shows when we have more money, we spend more money, and that goes into the economy, and that helps everybody.
I actually have a story in the news dump related to that right there as well.
Yeah, I mean, why do we need to be doing this? I feel like, okay, if Amendment 5 didn't pass, you think this is going to pass?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk
Sorry,
to him about
I don't.
as well.
I mean, like, I hate to. Maybe I'll be, blown away, and I'll change my mind. I'll have a, total epiphany or whatever. I don't know. Maybe conversion. Right now, I'm not feeling that.
So
and
first impression's not good.
First impression's not good, and I'm someone who would probably be predisposed to at least giving something like this a chance if it made sense to me. But if I'm going to have to try and explain that, I mean, I boiled down Amendment 4 like as clear as I could, and not that everybody listens to me or pays attention to what I say on Facebook, but that wasn't enough to persuade a lot of people. Right. So what? No.
Yeah, I need to see more of the math and the actual hearing the proposal of the actual, here's the road that we've paved to make this effective and work.
All right, so Senator Adam Schnelting going to be on the program tomorrow. Looks like I think it's going to end up being 8:05 is when he's going to be available, so we're going to talk to him about that in depth, and then we can put that out there on social media with everything once we have that discussion here. Okay, so there's also something called Amendment 8.
Okay.
Amendment 8, official ballot title. Shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to support law enforcement by preserving the right of citizens to elect a county sheriff, prohibiting the removal of a county sheriff except by a writ of quo warranto, and recognizing the office of sheriff as part of the administration of justice. State and local government entities estimate no costs or savings.
Don't we already do that?
Well, that's kind of what I mean, there may be some counties where the sheriff is appointed, but I can't think of any off the top of my head right now. Or cities where I don't know.
And that's how Alfred Loaded Dice got removed, right?
From the writ, yeah. So the fair ballot language, which is much more concise on this one, a yes vote will amend Missouri's Constitution to require counties to elect a sheriff every 4 years, which is currently required by statute, place in the Constitution provisions regarding sheriff's duties that are currently provided by statute, and provide that an elected sheriff may be removed from office only through a writ of quo warranto initiated by the Attorney General. A no vote will not amend the Missouri Constitution, et cetera, et cetera. So basically,
this is rolling what's current statutory law
and putting it into the Constitution.
Which,
yes.
I guess in the whole scheme of things, if you're going to have stuff in your Constitution, this might come closer to what should be in there as opposed to pot.
Yeah. Gambling.
Yeah. All the other stuff that we've got in our 126 plus amendments.
Bingo.
But bingo.
Bingo is interstate Constitution.
Like, bingo.
Like literally.
Okay, but why does this need to be?
It doesn't.
Okay.
Right. So what I'm saying, in the whole scheme of things, this might come closer to it, but it's already in the statute.
It's already in the statute, basically, so this would stop a future legislature from...
Is it in peril?
I got to find out who is behind this.
Who's behind this?
Yeah,
who's pushing this?
I don't know.
What I need to know more.
We know that it wasn't Alfred Montgomery who was behind this.
Safe bet.
Yeah.
I need to know more. All right, here's a new one. A leading Democrat says America is racist.
What?
Okay, that's not new. Right. We're going to tell you which presidential wannabe is trying to deal the race card this time.
I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
There's something wrong with him. He's a sick puppy.
On Newstalk STL.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner from Missouri's 2nd District. I work every day to put more money in your pocket, secure the border, protect our shared Missouri values, and keep our communities safe. Whether it's visiting one of my public events in neighborhoods around the district or by contacting my office, I want to hear from you. If you need help with a federal agency, please contact me at wagner.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey, Chris Arps from the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
Starting off early, that's a good 5 on the Susie dance scale.
I was doing like kind of an Elaine dance there. I was doing a little bit of, yeah.
6:18 right now. I guess when in doubt, declare that you're going to solve racism in America or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going on last week or so. I'm going to get to Ro Khanna here in just a second. Did you see Stacey Abrams? I guess she has a podcast / video show now too.
I make it a point not to see Stacey
Abrams.
I
know. The only reason I was doing a search for the stuff on Ro Khanna, and then she popped up, I guess, in some related search, and she said, in the South, we've been living under soft authoritarianism since 1776. And I went, well, from 1776 to the mid-1800s, I wouldn't have called it soft authoritarianism. You're living under slavery, not you, Stacey, but and then we fought this whole war thing. But really,
this is for show.
Oh yeah. So,
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I try to make a point not to see Stacey Abrams, so yeah. that encompasses listening to what she has to say too.
Yeah. So Ro Khanna, who obviously has made it very clear, when somebody steps up and says, "I'm thinking about running for president," it means they're running for president.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's what that means.
That is a safe bet.
So he's running for president in 2028, and he does this long form video interview with NPR. Which was a pretty friendly interview. 40 minutes. I did not watch all 40 minutes. I read, NPR's article on this, and then I went and looked up Ro Khanna's Substack to figure out what the heck he was talking about in this interview here. So he calls for a multiracial New Deal to save democracy.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
I mean, first of all, it's a callback to the Green New Deal. Which is a callback to the New Deal.
To the New Deal. That's
right,
where
but
it was going, yeah.
For people in 2026, most of them aren't going to think Franklin Roosevelt.
Well, that's what...
They're going to think Joe Biden.
That's what I thought. And the Green New Deal failed spectacularly. Honestly,
flop of a plan.
The New Deal failed spectacularly. I mean, now we've had, what, 4 generations at this point where they've tried to rewrite history on that. But I don't know that Ro Khanna trying to reach those younger than Gen X, because, I mean, you and I, we had grandparents who lived through the New Deal, so we got firsthand accounts of it. You know, I did for both my sets of grandparents. Neither one of them had, much good to say about that era, just economic depression and, the New Deal. And one set of grandparents, always conservative, not a fan of FDR. Another set of grandparents, Democrats until late in life, Union Democrats, better opinion of FDR, but even over time, they soured on anything Democratic at that point.
Well, the issue is that whenever I hear people that are of my generation or my age talking about it, they credit the New Deal for fixing the Great Depression because they don't have the economic literacy to understand.
It extended it by 7 years.
And they look at FDR as some sort of noble hero of a forerunner of the socialist platform that could work, rather than a actual tyrant that had to die in office because he wouldn't give up power.
That's the rewriting of history. I mean, it's been the idea that the New Deal ended the Depression that was debunked years ago, but you don't hear people talk about that. You still hear the talking points on it. The FDR's New Deal extended the Depression. Okay, so here's Ro Khanna talking on NPR.
He excluded a lot of the Black South, where domestic workers, agriculture workers didn't get a chance. He purposely set Social Security at 65, knowing that Black life expectancy was 59.
That was the only way he was going to get Southern support for his social reforms.
He excluded, of course, Japanese Americans and turned them. But a multiracial New Deal, in my view, is what is needed. And it will probably be one of America's greatest moments, because what we can do and will do in America, I don't know if it'll be my generation or the next generation, we will become the world's first cohesive multiracial democracy.
Okay, first of all, life expectancy overall was 59 in the country. It wasn't just Black Americans. So Ro Khanna was either misinformed, misstated. I'm trying to be as generous as I possibly can on that. He's not wrong about the Japanese Americans. I'm not. He's not wrong about that. So you give, but I still. And then I went and looked up, trying to look up specifically what does he mean by multiracial New Deal. I can't find anything, but I did find his Substack calling for a New Deal.
Right. So somehow he's decided that's a key buzzword that's going to distinguish him and get people's attention and get them talking about him and his plans.
Yes. And so when I looked at what he's calling for, what he considers the New Deal, it's giving away a whole lot of stuff for free. It's all free. It's free. Okay, for instance, free healthcare. We've been down this road, since the 90s. Free childcare. Build 1,000 trade schools and tech centers. And then he says a right to buy a house with zero money down after you've worked for 7 years. So assuming we mean adult years, then we're talking by 25, if you've had a job for 7 years, you have a right, as declared by government, to buy a house with zero money down.
What is he smoking?
It's good stuff, whatever it is. And I'm sure it's legal now.
Did he mention how that might affect the interest rates on the home? Or
we don't talk about stuff. We don't talk about stuff like that.
I'm sorry.
We don't talk about stuff like that.
Because having a zero down payment sounds good until you have to keep up those monthly payments.
Well, and what about the pushback he's going to get by expecting people to work for 7 years? I mean, many in his part of the political spectrum are going to find that offensive and oppressive.
That's right.
So
you're supposed to go to Starbucks every day for 5 days a week?
7 years?
7 whole years?
That's that's servitude. That's slavery. He's reintroducing slavery just so people can live somewhere.
No mental health days?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't not carve out for that. I'm just saying here. Okay, so here's what he said. He said, I'm reading from his Substack right now.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's Monday and I'm doing this to myself already. He said, I am tired of the consultant-crafted, focus group-tested phrases about affordability and renewing the American dream delivered without the specific policies to make them real I did not come to Washington to do messaging. I came to fight for a real agenda. Medicare for all, and all is capitalized for some reason. Tax the billionaires. No foreign wars. When we fight on policy instead of platitudes, Trump's coalition can crack. We saw it with the Epstein Files Act. I stood with survivors and worked with Thomas Massey to pass the most consequential legislation a Democrat has passed in Trump's second term. It is the moment when Trump's presidency began to unravel. This is the kind of... Oh, I know. You got a comment over? Yes.
I have questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we not tax billionaires right now?
Well, we do, but if you say we don't, then yeah, we do.
Okay, and so no foreign wars, but domestic ones are okay?
Right.
Okay, just asking.
Yep. He says, I am from the economic patriotism wing of the Democratic Party, the New Deal wing of the Democratic Party. Now, I got to tell you, economic patriotism wing is actually a pretty catchy phrase. You could probably say, I don't think it means anything, but I think it's pretty catchy just from a messaging perspective. Let's see here. Let me see here.
And he wants us to believe he hasn't been doing messaging studies on these little buzzwords.
Right. And he goes on to say here, our vision for this party is to deliver America's next New Deal. It means Medicare for all, no more excuses, no more half measures, free universal health care for every American now. It means free child care for Americans. The $80 billion we have spent in Iran could have paid for it. A decent life requires good jobs in the communities people actually live in. That is why we need a national industrial development bank that rebuilds places hollowed out. And he goes on and lists places like Milwaukee and some of the others, and towns across the steel and textile corridors. If China can invest $1.5 trillion through its development banks, America can invest here at home because we want to be like China, I guess.
Let's be more like China. Okay.
Let's build 1,000 trade schools and tech centers so families in every region can build modern wealth. I am not opposed to more trade centers and trade schools and tech centers.
Not at all.
I actually think those are more important than colleges and universities right now.
Right. Does the government need to be the one building them?
I would rather divert money away from the University of Illinois and UMSL and Mizzou into more of those trade schools and centers. But to say we're going to build 1,000 of them across the country as a big government New Deal program, yeah, okay. I mean, I'm not going to take – I'm going to say there's probably something there that's probably worth looking at, but not to that level. I just don't think the demand's there for it. You go to State Tech here in Missouri, a kid goes in, let's say it's a 2-year program. By the end of the first year, they've typically got a really good job lined up, and there's a waiting list for them. Yeah. That's how in demand the trades are.
Absolutely.
So there is a nugget in there that
I'm a big fan of trade schools.
Absolutely.
I'm just skeptical of Roe being, the driving force behind a government plan to set these up.
Yeah. And here he goes. Here's another simple idea. Hardworking Americans should be able to buy a home. Okay? That's why I've proposed a home by 35. That's what he's calling it. Work 7 years and you earn the right to buy a house with 0 down payment and a low interest loan. The same promise we've long made to veterans.
So it's like AmeriCorps plus something. I don't know.
How do we pay for it all? Anybody want to know?
Tax the billionaires.
That's exactly the word zeros. All 989 of them.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So basically what we need is government running more of our economy and redistributing wealth.
And it's going to all come together if the billionaires will just pay their fair share.
Now, you know that the billionaires pay like 40 some odd % of the overall taxes, right?
That's racist.
I know.
Or something.
Yeah. My bad.
Come on, Mike.
I know.
It's too early for that nonsense. Now at 6:35, find out why you might not be special enough to drive on some public roads this week in one of their fancier parts of town. Ooh, I don't like that. Let's get deeper in that conversation coming up here.
He just read the T's like, oh, wait a minute, what?
I'm very fancy, okay? I deserve to drive.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
People talk about federal money as if it falls from heaven. You know, we thank heaven for it, but it came out of people's pockets.
On News Talk STL.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Just the convenience on the phone.
Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime,
Everywhere.
anywhere.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
After 10 straight days with highs in the 90s and 8 straight days with a triple-digit heat index, the pattern finally breaks today. A cold front moved through overnight, triggered some storms along the way, but that rain's gone and it took the heat along with it. A high of only 84 this afternoon under a mix of clouds and sun. Mostly clear tonight, down to 68, then a little warmer Tuesday, 88 under mostly sunny skies. Next chance of rain and thunderstorms arrives Tuesday night into Wednesday with on and off wet weather Thursday, too. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt James.
Don't hate, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Never paint again with Rhino Shield. Listen to what a couple of happy customers have to say.
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted. Our building was really faded. You came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
What a wonderful job they did. It's beautiful. They were very thoughtful, kind, considerate guys. Appreciate all the work that these two young men did.
Call Rhino Shield, 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey, Jamie Ullman here for Window World. Did you know that Window World offers a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor? They are one of the only 2 replacement windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Window World St. Louis has been owned and operated by a group of born and raised St. Louis residents for more than 23 years, and now Window World is offering 36 months same as cash financing with approved credit. Call them today, 800-GET-WINDOWS for a free in-home, no-pressure estimate. That's Window World at 800-GET-WINDOWS.
Colombo and Company.
Join us every day for conversations with a wide variety of guests as we keep you informed and up to speed on all the important news and headlines you need to know.
Live and local, weekdays at 2.
On News Talk STL.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson from Newsmax. Excited to meet you at the St. Louis County Lincoln Dinner, September the 19th. Be sure to check out my show, Rob Carson's What in the World, Saturday at 3 and Sunday at 8:30 p.m. on Newsmax. And be sure to subscribe to the daily Rob Carson Show podcast. Now back to my buddy Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, heads up, us commoners will not be allowed on some roads this week.
Okay.
I actually saw the sign, the warning signs for this on Friday. I was driving around Creve Coeur, and I was down on Ladue Road. You see these fancy signs posted all over parts of Ladue Road.
Yeah.
Starting Monday, if you do not have BMW credentials, you're not allowed on a big stretch of Ladue Road.
Now, let's be clear.
Yes.
You don't have to be driving a BMW.
No, but there are special privileges if you are. I'm not making that.
Well, okay, that's the branding of the tournament, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what's going on is there's a really big golf tournament.
Yes.
That's happening. The BMW tournament, whatever
Classic
it's called.
something.
Whatever it's called. It's like the prize money alone is something like $20 million. For this.
Yikes.
It's
Wow.
one of the largest in the country. So you know Tim Jones is giddy right now. If you're sensing that energy around Eureka, that's Tim Jones bouncing off the walls in his house is what that is.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what's going on, and you really need to know this, especially if you are in the Creve Coeur Ladue area. Okay, so between Ladue Road between 270 and 141, If you do not have a credential, you're not allowed on that road starting at 6 a.m.
I was just there yesterday.
Like starting as in a half hour ago.
I was just there yesterday. I'm glad I made it in under the wire.
You may be able to go back after 7 p.m. Okay. So all this week between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. I'm sure like the people who live there, because those are some really nice houses. That's a really fancy area, obviously. I'm sure they've gotten credentials that they can live. There's no through traffic, so they're gonna graciously allow the rich people to get to and from their homes on there. But also no through traffic permitted on Mason Road between Conway and Hibbler. So we're talking right around the country club.
Right. This is around Belle Reve, right?
Right, Belle Reve, yeah. And so that's where the tournament is going to be. And so even though these are public streets, if you do not have the BMW issued credentials, you're not allowed.
I wonder to what extent that messes up school traffic.
It's got to be some, because you've got
schools are open.
Yeah, schools are open, and there's
Mason Ridge, there's Belle Reve, there's
2 or 3 there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean there's that's in the Parkway School District, and then there's also some private schools in the vicinity, so interesting.
Yeah. And it also says there is no public or general parking available in the immediate vicinity of Belle Reve Country Club. Not even just within it, but in the vicinity. Yeah. All vehicles on Ladue and Mason roads must have the proper credentials. It's the libertarian in me. This irritates me. I mean,
it's a street takeover.
Susie coming in off the top rope already.
It like quite literally is.
Yeah, it is, and it's funny because you drive through that area. Many of those roads are private roads.
Yes,
which I'm, by the way, I have no problem with whatsoever. Right. None whatsoever. Ladue and Mason and those are not public. Those are not private roads.
Right.
You're paying for them, but for this week, you're not allowed on them unless you're part of the country club class.
Now, the saving grace is that most people aren't traveling along them unless they're part of the country club class. To be honest, it's not like on the way to where most the regular Joes are going.
That's right. That's commoner folk.
So it's probably not inconveniencing.
You're not allowed here. Your car is old and dirty.
No, I mean that is good to know. Actually, no, my mom does have to travel along Mason Road when she goes over to Siteman for her cancer treatment and stuff. So I would want to know that ahead of time. She doesn't have any appointments this week, so that's not going to be an issue for us.
Yeah, because unless it was before 6 or 6 a.m. or after 7 a.m.
After 7 p.m.
After 7 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, we would have to be dealing with that, and so I'm glad to be aware of this. There are people that are going to need to be aware of this.
Yes.
Yeah, you just got to, I guess, be creative in how you get to where you're going.
Yeah, and I like I said, Friday I was driving through that area, and I mean it's like a whole thing. It's a huge deal. I mean, there are parts where they've got these massive tents and there are golf carts laid out everywhere. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff there.
It's interesting because we just went to the party at the Elks Club there on Ladue, so it's close to 270 yesterday afternoon, and I did not see any of the signage like forewarning of that, which surprises me because maybe I just wasn't paying attention. I was looking for my GPS to see.
You would not have missed them. Let me put it that way.
I will say this. Yesterday afternoon, between 270 and the Elks Club, wherever that is, along Ladue Road, the signage was not...
That's west of 270, right?
It's west of 270. Yeah. The signage was not prominent or readily visible.
Once I'm trying to remember where I saw it, because it was west of 270.
It was probably closer to Mason.
Okay, yeah, it was farther east than Mason.
Right, but it was probably...
Right, but they were pretty large, very fancy pre-printed ones. Just
it's possible it was there, and I just wasn't paying attention because I was looking at my GPS. But
yeah,
I definitely did not see that, so I'm glad to be aware of that. Not that I planned to be in the area, but
bottom line is, if you don't live there, you're not getting through there.
Yeah,
that's just it.
Yeah. Well, Cori Bush might be. Have some extra spare time on her hands. So I'm wondering if she could lead a march.
There you go.
I mean, she likes to lead the marches on the private streets and
see how far she would get.
Right? No. Isn't that
right?
How
that's how that works, right? Yeah. I'm sure you can yell racism for something.
I'm pretty sure.
Why not?
Yeah. Why not?
All right. This also happened over the weekend. There was a lot of crazy news over the over the weekend. A lot of violence in the city, and also, did you see there was supposed to be this weekend a Black Pride event, so a Black LGBT thing.
I did not get the memo.
Downtown. I did not know anything of it until late Friday night when some violence and fights broke out at the Black LGBT thing. And then they canceled the rest of it for the whole weekend. They just called it all off.
I saw something else that got canceled.
What else got canceled?
GNR.
Oh.
About halfway through.
Yeah. I because of the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually drove by there yesterday because I played ball at Arsenal BG Ballpark last night. That used to be known as GCS. And there's that little place on 40 where you can look in and see into the stadium.
Into the stadium, yeah.
And I was like making it a point to look over, and this was before the show started.
Yeah.
And you could see their giant like stage setup thing. And that was well before they started. But I wondered how long they were going to go because when I drove back at 8:59, our game went pretty fast. I made it a point to roll them, and this was moments before the storm hit.
Yeah,
I mean,
that storm rolled in fast.
Oh, and it was hard. I was on the highway when it hit.
Oof.
And driving by, I rolled it because I'm like, okay, are they playing? Can I hear anything? And it was already dead silent.
Yeah.
In there.
From what I could see, they actually did play for like an hour, maybe an hour and a half even, and then they pulled it because of the storm, which rightly so.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
That was a crazy lightning storm, and there was hail and all that stuff. But then they didn't like stick around. Like they didn't delay it. They just called it.
Yeah, because I mean, and that storm moved through.
The good news is the people only paid $30 to be there. So
I had some friends that were looking on Friday, and they were like, he goes like, I got a ticket for $30. And he goes, yeah, I didn't say. I said, was that like all included, taxes and fees? He goes, yeah, it was $30. I'm like, then you paid about $21. And then the taxes and fees. They were having a lot of trouble selling that thing. Okay, here's another thing. I don't know how this kind of crap keeps happening. Do you see this story? I
saw the headline. I saw the arrest photos.
I
the
saw
mugshots.
Yeah, I saw those, and I happened to be looking at Twitter when Mitch McCoy from the police department was tweeting this out. That's where I saw it. Parents, a man and a woman, charged after police say they left their 6-month-old child unattended in a hot car. This happened, let's see here, Saturday, where it was stupid hot.
It was.
Like actual temperatures approaching the mid-90s. The windows were up. There was no air conditioning on. The car was not on. The child, 6-month-old, was unresponsive. And emergency crews came in and they had to revive him.
Oh, my God.
And they got him up to the hospital. And I don't know how he's doing, but they got him stable. And 51-year-old Varden R. Lovett and 32-year-old Kayana Curry arrested at the scene. Investigators say the child was with his parents, fell asleep in, I'm assuming, mom's arms here. Police said Lovett then took the baby, placed him in the car, and then rejoined Curry inside of whatever event that they were at that was apparently more important than keeping your 6-month-old baby safe.
You hear these tragic stories where there's a change in routine, and one parent is dropping the child. And somehow they're like truly not intentionally, the child gets left in the car, and it's horrific. I cannot imagine deliberately leaving your child alone in the car, 6-month-old alone in the car at all.
Yeah.
Any time of day, any type of weather, but particularly in this. Oh my God.
So Gabe Gore's office, St. Louis Circuit Attorney's office, charging them both with first-degree endangering the welfare of a child.
Yeah. See, that baby needs to be with somebody who has better sense.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And here's the thing is sometime every spring when we get the first round of hot weather, there's some story like this around the country. And we say it every year. How on earth does anybody not know about to not do this?
I don't
I mean, there's no possible.
That's what I'm saying. I understand. It's horrible, but I understand sometimes there's an accidental, like somebody thinks the child is with the other person and there's a mix up. I've seen those stories, which are
blank out,
tragic.
You run into Target.
You go on autopilot and you forget. Okay, I get that. But this is not that.
No.
This is someone deliberately making this choice.
And I've said it every late spring. I said, at some point, we're going to have something like this here. It happens every stinking year. And this child is very fortunate to be alive.
Well, I hope he's okay.
Yeah. And so far it looks like he is, but good Lord. See, if I saw like a kid in a car and nobody's around, I would have no qualms whatsoever with grabbing whatever I've got and busting out the window.
Same.
None. No problem whatsoever with that.
Yeah. I cannot agree with you more.
Yeah.
Ugh. This makes me furious. All right. Is ICE backing down? We are going to hear from the border czar about that at 6:50.
They're actually enjoying it.
Of course they're enjoying it.
It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Hey everyone, this is Jesse from Reach Reproductive Health, and I need you to mark your calendar because on October 22nd, it's going to be a big night in St. Louis. It's going to be our second annual Reach Gala, and it's happening at the factory. Incredible live music, powerful speakers, a night to celebrate life, and to support the Reach mission. Stay tuned to find out who's taking the stage. I promise you won't want to miss it. Registration is open right now at outreachforlife.org/gala.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
There's something magical about walking into your backyard and knowing your family is completely safe and secure. Hi, I'm Sean Long, owner of STL Fence Works. That's the feeling my team and I have been creating for metro area families for more than 50 years. Whether you're adding your first fence or finally creating the outdoor sanctuary you've always wanted, we offer premium vinyl and stunning ornamental options, all designed around your family's specific needs and lifestyle. While other companies struggle with supply delays and rising costs, we've always proudly used all American-made materials, which means better pricing and faster installation for you. Our experienced craftsmen exemplify our motto, your satisfaction is our passion. From Warrenton to Wildwood, your neighbors trust us because we live here too, and we care about your project as much as you do. Right now is the golden time to build with flexible financing options and a commitment to completing your fence on time and on budget. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, this is Missouri Lieutenant Governor David Wassinger. You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, how successful is the left when it comes to stopping ICE these days? Not very.
Okay.
A Democrat is making an early move in the race for the White House by trying to sound like a normal human being.
Well, that's a novel concept.
It's a bold strategy.
Cotton.
It is. And you know what? The Cardinals have not beaten up on too many teams this season, but if you get one team to pick to beat up on, this is the one to do it.
Good weekend for it.
Sorry, Mom. All right, 6:49 right now. Let's do the first news dump of the day.
The morning news dump brought to you by the Nutrition Stop.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news. The morning news dump.
See, because my mom's a big Cubs fan because she's from Chicago.
I'm aware.
Get that. All right.
Sorry, Vicky.
Yeah, it was, I'm sure, rough for her, but my goodness. Joshua Baez.
I know. Even I know about it.
Crap.
Mm-hmm.
Man, all right. ICE arrests have reached historic highs, while some are still doubling down on wanting to abolish ICE. Border czar Tom Homan was on Fox's One Nation with Brian Kilmeade discussing the updates on the effort to control the border.
What they're failing to tell the people is we're enforcing the laws that they wrote, that they enacted. We're not making this up. We're doing the same job we did under any other president, except under the last 4 years under Joe Biden, ICE wasn't allowed to enforce the law.
Okay, in July, ICE and Department of Homeland Security says they reached a historic milestone with about 51,000 immigration arrests made just in July alone.
That's a lot of arrests.
51,000 is
a lot of people
huge.
where are not supposed to be.
Yeah. All right. President Trump says he has ordered planned joint military exercises with South Korea to be scaled back. In a Truth Social post, the president cites both the cost of the exercises and his, and I'm quoting here, very good relationship with Kim Jong-un, who, of course, is the brutal, cultish communist dictator of North Korea, as being among the reasons for scaling back those military exercises.
Interesting.
It's a weird Truth Social post.
It is weird.
It's very, very, very bizarre. All right, some new economic numbers are in, and shoppers unexpectedly cut their spending in July as a boost from government tax refunds seem to have faded. Bernie Bennett's got the story in Washington.
Retail sales slipped 0.6% last month, the biggest drop since May of 2025, from a revised gain of 0.2%. According to the Commerce Department data release, there was a notable bump in spending in both April and May as Americans dipped into their tax refunds. Excluding sales at gas stations and auto dealers, retail sales in July fell 0.2%. Gas prices ticked up again to $4.08 per gallon on Friday, up from $3.85 a month ago, according to Motor Club AAA. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
Okay, a website claims to be able to tell you if your license plate has been tracked with flock cameras. I knew Jerome would go, huh?
Go on.
I feel like this is surveillance on surveillance.
It's good. Okay, it's haveibeenflocked.com. That's the website.
Type very carefully.
Yes, haveibeenflocked.com. Yeah, otherwise you're going to, Okay, so this is free to use. Keep in mind that there is no independent verification that the website's search results are accurate. I ran my license plates on it this morning, and it came up and said, nope, my license plate has not been tracked at all by Flock. Well, I'm driving constantly every day around here. There's no possible way that my license plate has not been flocked. But, I mean, obviously, hopefully they're not looking for me because I haven't done anything. But,
Well, okay, so you may have gone past a few license plate scanners. It just might not be Flock branded license plate scanners. That's what I would assume.
Well, I would say how many are in St. Louis? Because I drive all over St. Louis. There is no possible way that I haven't been there. Now, then they go on the website and saying, okay, well, here's why. Just because it doesn't come up with any results doesn't mean that you haven't been tracked, and then list a bunch of reasons on it.
I guess today is Susie's skepticism day. Okay, number one. So what? Okay, what do you do with the information if let's just say it's even remotely accurate? What do you do with that information? Okay. I mean, why wouldn't you just assume that you're being flocked or surveilled pretty much wherever you're driving most of the time if you're like in highly populated areas?
That's what I assume.
You're giving them your license plate to try and keep people from having your license plate.
Mm-hmm.
That seems counterintuitive to me.
Yeah, and also if you've got your phone in your car, guess what? Somebody's tracking where you are.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Like, I feel like I'm not gonna say I think this is a scam, but I think this is a scam.
Yeah. Now you don't have to sign up for anything to use it. So, but I don't know what they're getting from it. I mean, but
advertising dollars in some way, shape, or form. But like for what, sir? I mean,
yeah.
Well, I'll put it this way because I hate the comparison to cell phones and social media when it comes to this stuff. This means that you are able to tell if you have been tracked because. Never mind. I don't have enough time to get into it. Never mind. I recede.
Okay, here's my point, though. A, it doesn't sound like it's reliably telling you one way or the other. And B, okay, you've been tracked. Then what?
We don't have enough time in the news dump for this.
Okay.
I'll tell you during the break.
Okay.
All right, some Democratic lawmakers proposing Medicare for All. We just heard about that. That would establish a national tax-funded health program to cover all U.S. residents. The program would then replace private health insurance and eliminate copays and deductibles. But wait till you see what happens to your tax bill. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says he does not support Medicare for All. That's at least what he says in this interview on Meet the Press this weekend.
No, as you indicated, I haven't co-sponsored the Medicare for All legislation that has been introduced over the last several years. I do think we need to figure out how to fix our broken healthcare system and then build something better once we repair the damage that has been done.
And in that and other interviews, when he was asked about, okay, well, then are you going to block it? He's like, well, that's a conversation we need to have in the caucus. So he stopped short and saying, well, I'm not going to let it happen.
I thought the ACA fixed our broken healthcare system, didn't it?
Yeah, he's talking about the things we need to fix. Okay, yeah, guess what? Guess what took a system that was unstable at best and breaking at worst and then made it far worse? That would be Obamacare.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is make it more government run and get rid of any incentive or competition in the marketplace. That's how they think.
Well, to be fair, a lot of these programs are run in a way that the biggest obstacle for them is that there's not enough government into it, and they will only work if you give over complete control to the government.
Guess who wrote all the government rules for healthcare? The frickin' healthcare conglomerates. That's who wrote it.
I'm not sure there's any question in the world that the correct answer to is more government.
Right. Yeah. Okay, Congresswoman AOC, Senator Bernie Sanders, trying to, at least in words, distance themselves from the socialist wing of their party ahead of the upcoming midterms in November. But Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, he's taken that a step further. He was on Face the Nation on CBS, weighing in on the socialism and the left wing, fringe left wing that's dominating his party right now.
I believe socialism is a failed experiment, but I do believe that we need to get results for the American people. And I think when you look at Democratic governors, you see those results. I've been proud to create more jobs than any other governor in our history.
Okay, so he's been pretty consistent on taking swings at the fringe left.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Democratic governor in a red state.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he's running.
He's running, and he's electable.
He's electable to the Mike Ferguson wing of the Sanity Party.
But I don't think the Democrats would ever nominate him. Because he sounds too much like a normal human being.
So he's not electable. He's electable in your world.
In the general election, he's electable.
Yeah, I guess.
Yep. But will he get to the general election? Probably not. Yep. All right. After losing the first game of the series to the Cubs, Cardinals came back and thumped them 2 games in a row. Yesterday's final score at Wrigley Field was 11-4. Alec Burleson, Jordan Walker both had home runs. Division play continues today. There is a midday game, which is a little unusual for the first game of a series sometimes. 12:40 against the Reds. This one is in Cincinnati.
Stop before you dig. Click or call 811. Every dig, every time.
Hitting an underground utility can cause costly damage and serious injury. Contact Missouri 811 online or simply dial 811 at least 3 working days before you dig. It's fast, free, and the law. Safety is in your hands. Every dig, every time.
Stop before you dig. Click or call 811. Every dig, every time.
It's the law. Sponsored by Missouri 811.
I'm in my late 60s. My husband died a few years ago. He did all of our taxes. I sold a piece of property last year, and I forgot to claim the proceeds of the sale. Next thing I know, I got a letter from the IRS telling me that I owe over $50,000. Now I have a huge tax problem. I don't have that kind of money. I wish I knew who to call.
If you sold property in the last calendar year or didn't claim all of your part-time or even retirement income, you could be in big trouble with the IRS. Call first before they send you a letter. If you've already got a letter, call. We'll help you file years of past tax returns and save you time and money. So call the tax doctor. The call is confidential and free.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. The 60-day deadline for an agreement to end the Iran war and resolve the dispute over its nuclear program expires today, and there is no agreement to end the war. Apparently nothing on the horizon, but the Trump administration is not giving up. After sitting down with the Hamas chief in Egypt, U.S. negotiator Jared Kushner is meeting with Israel's prime minister.
Jared Kushner's Middle East trip comes as the U.S.-backed plan to strip Hamas of its weapons appears to have ground to a halt. Last month, President Trump announced that his Board of Peace had reached an historic agreement with the Palestinian armed group. But Mr. Netanyahu later rejected the deal, which would have seen Israel withdraw its troops from Gaza in phases. A Palestinian official told the BBC that Mr. Kushner met a delegation led by the head of Hamas, Khalil al-Hayya, in Cairo. Hamas, in a statement, later called on mediators and the Board of Peace to compel Israel to approve the roadmap for the next steps. But it will be hard, even for Israel's closest ally, the U.S., to pressure Mr. Netanyahu as he faces a tough October election to try to hold on to power. Many Israelis are also skeptical that Hamas is ready to disarm.
The BBC's Yolande Nell in Jerusalem. Ordering a scaling back of joint military exercises with South Korea, President Trump says the drills are costly and send a signal that's totally inappropriate and hostile to North Korea. Mr. Trump adds Pyongyang has been unthreatening and respectful during his time in the White House. Hurricane Lala left behind a lot of damage on Hawaii's Big Island, damaging or destroying at least 100 homes, leaving tens of thousands without power. Days of unceasing rains, flash flooding, and fierce winds have resulted in widespread outages in Indiana and at least 7 deaths, including a 4-year-old child. Watching Wall Street this morning, Dow futures are down 111 points, while the NASDAQ futures are up 162 points. S&P futures better by 9 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds, and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you, with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So, yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou, because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds, too. Get a quote right now at 800-555-2085. 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
From the NewsTalkSTL Weather Center.
After 10 straight days with highs in the 90s and 8 straight days with a triple-digit heat index, the pattern finally breaks today. A cold front moved through overnight, triggered some storms along the way, but that rain's gone and it took the heat along with it. A high of only 84 this afternoon under a mix of clouds and sun. Mostly clear tonight, down to 68, then a little warmer Tuesday, 88 under mostly sunny skies. Next chance of rain and thunderstorms arrives Tuesday night into Wednesday with on and off wet weather Thursday, too. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Window World of St. Louis. For replacement windows, doors, and siding, call 800-GET-WINDOWS. That's 800-GET-WINDOWS.
If you love your pet, which I know you do, then they deserve the excellent treatment and care they'll receive at Pacific Animal Hospital in Pacific, Missouri, a full-service veterinarian facility. Originally built and grown by my dad, Dr. Bill Jones, a new generation of wonderful veterinarians and staff at Pacific continue to provide outstanding medical, surgical, dental, boarding, and grooming services for your favorite furry friends. Our family entrusts the care of our pets only to the experienced docs and staff at Pacific Animal Hospital. You should too. Call them today, 636-257-2100, 24/7 at PacificVets.com, PacificVets.com.
Calling all Patriots. Join the St. Louis County Republicans for the annual Lincoln Reagan Day Dinner, Saturday, September 19th at River City Casino. Our keynote speaker, Newsmax personality, Rob Carson. Enjoy a full night of fun and information alongside state and local officials and candidates. It's an evening you won't want to miss. Dinner and program, just $75. For tickets, email Renee Artman at hotmail.com or call 314-398-6667.
Mike Ferguson.
I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. I don't take no from anyone.
Susie Moore.
I disagree on his assessment of the situation.
Get Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
A congresswoman gets inked up. People on the internet have thoughts about that. So, do you find Nancy Mace's new look interesting? I'm going to put that out there. Jerome, if you grabbed any of those pictures, we got to put that up on the video stream here in just a little bit. 7:05 right now. I've mentioned before, redstate.com on my tabs that's open here, and if you go into my phone browser, it's like one of those things I've looked at enough. It's right there. So if I go to redstate.com today, Susie, what would be some of the first things I should check out to start the week?
This is the Red State Rundown.
First up, we've got a culture clash story here from Ben Smith. Virginia salon owner boots Jewish Israeli customer, then her own video makes it even worse. So this is one of those things where the customer goes in to, I guess, get her brows done, I don't know, and then they get into a conversation and it suddenly becomes political. And when the owner finds out that the customer is half Israeli and Jewish, kicks her out because genocide.
What year is this again?
2026.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of an interesting little skirmish that's kind of erupted on social media because they both put out videos about what happened, and everyone's of course fighting over who's in the right, who's in the wrong. We also have from Sister Tolja, FBI releases data on historic drop in violent crime rate. Media can't figure out who to credit. Go figure. The statistics are showing that a significant crime rate drop. And I think the FBI is rightly crowing about that. Sure. And the media is like,
everybody got nicer.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's the only real explanation you can come up with.
Except in downtown St. Louis.
Right. And then Terry Christoph has this one. Texas officials ignored fury over massive Islamic Center expansion. Now they face a recall. Yeah, things are very dicey in Texas right now over...
This is an interesting situation.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting situation.
Yeah, so you had the whole situation with the Islamic Center expansion, and then there was the DFW issue with the footbaths.
Right, which they backed off.
They've backed off on. Yeah. But this is, again, I guess the theme of the day is culture clash, because this is really kind of boiling up in Texas.
Yeah, the DFW foot washing thing, which was specifically for, some Islamic, tenets of their whatever. That was a really stupid thing. Now, it was privately funded. Somebody offered to privately fund that, but it would go into DFW. And the backlash, they're like, okay, yeah, bad idea. We're gonna do away with at least the main plan of that. The mosque expansion, and I'm going to admit I haven't read as much as I probably should. I've read some on it, but I'm thinking back to when I was on a city council. I'm looking back and there are some things that you're not allowed to turn down.
Right.
I mean, by law, you're not allowed to turn down.
There's major First Amendment issues.
Massive First Amendment issues. And so people still have the right to do recall, I guess, in this city and under Texas law. And you can't stop them. But at times it's like sometimes you have to vote for stuff you don't like because that's what's, required. I mean, there are times that, I remember some times where we had a business that was in trouble. Now, not applicable to here. The state law said we had to revoke their license because of some tax stuff. We didn't want to do it. We found as many ways as we could to legally delay it to give them time to make it right with the state. And there's only so much we could do because at some point you don't have a choice. Typically, any house of worship basically is exempt from most zoning laws for the most part. And that is a First Amendment thing that's recognized essentially nationwide. So I get not wanting a mosque in your area. And apparently this is a very busy area, business section with residential areas and schools. And it's apparently a large thing with a lot of traffic. So there are going to be legitimate concerns. And then there's going to be, we just don't like the Muslims. Yeah. Probably all mixed in there.
Sure.
So it's a fascinating story.
It is, and I encourage you to check it out at redstate.com.
There it is, redstate.com. Yep. All right. By the way, Nancy Mace has a new YouTube show.
Okay.
Imagine that. Come on, did anybody see that coming?
Did anybody not? I mean, like I said, girl's got to make a living.
Yeah, I mean, once she's done in Congress in January.
Yeah, she doesn't have a new leadership role to take on as far as in politics. That didn't work out for her, so she's got to move on to something else.
Yeah, so I thought it was kind of interesting that I guess was it Sunday? I jumped onto social media and I saw all kinds of New York Post and all these different media outlets, a few conservative, some of them on the left, all putting up the pictures because Nancy Mace's, she got inked. She got a lot of ink.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess she got it earlier this year, I guess. But
Don't.
she made it a point to show it off both, in a photo. She did a selfie at the pool wearing a swimsuit. I did not hate that picture. I'll just put it that way. But also on her new set for her video show on YouTube, and it's probably on Rumble and wherever else you're going to find it. She made a point to wear a sleeveless thing showing off all the ink. And there's a lot of ink on there.
I guess my theory is if you're going to get a bunch of tattoos like that, why wouldn't you want to be showing them off?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a tattoo guy. I don't have any myself.
Nor do I.
I don't think any of us in this room have any. You don't have any, do you?
I'm blank.
Yeah. Blank canvas for all of us. Not my thing. My daughter is inked up like crazy.
Same.
Drives
not
me-
like crazy, but she has tattoos.
Yeah, Gabe and I would commiserate because his daughter and my daughter, who are basically the same age, both really into the ink. Which of course I'm like, Amber, you're gonna regret that someday. But hey, nothing I can do about it. She's an adult. She makes her own decisions on that sort of thing. But people had lots and lots and lots of thoughts on this on the internet. I mean, people get tattoos all the time. It's like with each generation, it's more common that somebody has a tattoo. It's just not. There's no stigma to it anymore. Obviously,
No, there's not. I mean, to me, this is consistent with what we've seen of Nancy Mace.
Yeah.
She has made a point to kind of make herself sort of a social media flashpoint, and obviously she's got to move into a new career at the end of this year.
She's probably not getting elected in any office again.
Probably
Most
not.
likely.
She's still, I guess, relatively young. She's, I don't know, is she 40?
I don't know. I think she's in her early 40s, maybe.
Yeah, she must be. But and she's attractive, and so I think she's going to try and figure out a way to capitalize on that as best she can. I think I said this off the air, but she does fall into the hot, crazy matrix. So, but I mean, that can work for you for a while, right? Until it doesn't. So I guess
she's 48.
She's 48. Okay. Yeah. I guess I would have thought maybe more like 43, 42.
That's what I was thinking.
But even so, I mean, she's an attractive woman, but then, there's only so much time that you have to work with that combination of things to make that work for you from an entrepreneurial standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there were some people, like, for instance, Jonah Goldberg is on social media like, this is a desperate cry for help. Well,
was he offering help?
I don't think she'd take it from him,
No, and I don't think he's offering it.
No,
I think he's just, it's like the opposite of the virtue signal.
Because Nancy Mace has been very clear about she's been through some really tough stuff. So there's no question she's survived some really tough stuff. And then on the other hand, she's mixed it up with some drama, both for, I think, some good hard reasons, and then others just she has some drama that always is around her.
It sure do follow her around.
Yeah.
Kind of like Pigpen and the Dirt Cloud.
It does. So she's got, and obviously this is a lot of attention, and we're talking about just because I saw so many people with strong opinions about the tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got a bunch of friends with lots of tattoos. I've got one of my good friends on one of my ball teams, retired military guy, tatted from the neck down.
Sure.
I mean, if you get into a bar fight, I want Chris with me. And he is a scary looking dude. Now, Chris, not to give away your secret, he's also probably the nicest guy you're ever going to meet.
Well, now you just ruined it.
I know, I did. But like we were at one of our ball games, and his art is impressive. There is some really impressive stuff out there. That doesn't mean that it's for me. I wouldn't do it. But, despite my daughter begging me for years to get a tattoo.
She
She
wants
just
you to join the fun,
desperately wants me to get a tattoo.
Okay. Well,
I'm not getting a tattoo.
No.
I had plans for a couple different tattoos at different periods of my life.
Oh, I did too.
I'm really
but,
glad I didn't follow through with it.
Same. absolutely same. Did you ever like have a plan to get one at one point?
I thought I'd have maybe about getting like a little toe ring, so something kind of subtle. That, but then I just never followed through, and it's never been something that I've felt compelled to do. I mean, I had a couple, I had like double pierced ears. I had a belly ring for a little while. I mean, I did some edgy stuff, but I just never really felt like really called by the body modification thing.
Yeah, that wasn't for me. What were you going to get?
I had just a couple of like weird designs that I thought were sentimental or symbolic of things I had gone through and stuff of that nature. It just wasn't. I never really had the money for them growing up, and then when I finally started making money to get one, I'm like, why would I spend money on that?
Yeah,
I could get it on like a T-shirt or something.
I mean, my daughters are tasteful and they are meaningful to her. I mean, like they, I don't fault her for wanting to get them, and I'm not mad at her for getting them. I mean, it's just a different choice than I prefer as far as.
And parents are going to look at it.
My skin is old and wrinkly now. It's definitely not lending itself to tats.
I did want a Mike Tyson face tattoo at one point, though.
Did you really?
I was an athlete and I was in combat, so I thought it would make me look tougher.
Yeah, I'm the same way because like I even had a thing drawn up at one point, and then I didn't have any money, and then later on I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't have any money because I probably would have done it.
Yeah,
Thank goodness I was broke at the time. Otherwise, I would have. But Nancy May, I don't know whether this is going to be like her shtick, or it's just she was just showing it off to show that she's edgy or whatever. But a lot of people had a lot of thoughts on it. So you can look it up and tell us what you think.
We're here for it. Yep. We're also here for this. Join News Talk STL for the annual Leadership for America Dinner 2026. It'll be September 25th at the St. Charles Convention Center Grand Ballroom. It's featuring Nick Shirley as the keynote speaker. Nick is, of course, the independent journalist who exposed the alleged fraud in Minneapolis, the Leering Center, all that good stuff. Plus, there's going to be other speakers to be announced soon. Your ticket price includes dinner and the program and must be purchased in advance. For tickets and more information, simply go to newstalkstl.com/Nick Shirley.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I like it, but they're going a little overboard with the dancing.
On News Talk STL. Colombo and Company.
Join us every day for conversations with a wide variety of guests as we keep you informed and up to speed on all the important news and headlines you need to know.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo, and it's tough to pick, but my favorite sandwich at Capriotti's is the cheesesteak with a side of Cap's awesome fries. Visit Capriotti's now at 2 locations on Manchester at McKnight and Rock Hill, and now in Creve Coeur on Olive, just 1 mile west of 270.
Tired of settling for generic fishing gear? Say hello to Bullseye Bait and Tackle, O'Fallon's one-stop shop for serious anglers. Live bait, premium tackle, rods, reels, and an unbeatable selection of lures from top brands like Megabass, Zoom, and Berkley. Whether you're after bass, catfish, crappie, or bluegill, they've got the gear to help you land the big one. Plus, their expert team, led by Mark and Liz, provides rod and reel repair services. Bullseye Bait and Tackle, 266 Fort Zumwalt Square, or at bullseyebaitantackle.net.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
What's going on, y'all? It's the Officer Tatum. You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. God bless you guys. God bless America.
Is that a new bump song?
This is Cold.
I like that.
Yeah,
Kind of that rumbling, rolling,
it's sort of
crunchy thing.
Peaked out back in the early 2000s for the most part, but they've got some really good stuff. I'll play some more Cold for you.
I was gonna say, was this new to us or was it already in there? I don't.
Oh, I've
remember
played
this
a
one.
lot of the stuff you guys just don't pay attention to.
I like this one. For some reason it jumped out. All right, guys, I'm calling an audible. We were gonna do the constitutional amendment thing again. We'll do that in the 8 o'clock hour, and then Adam Schnelting's gonna be with us at 8:05 tomorrow to talk about Amendment 7. You're like, Mike, what the heck is Amendment 7? That's the point. That's why we're going to talk about it, because there's going to be a whole lot of people showing up at the polls not knowing what's on the ballot. So we'll do that. But we got a big response a little bit ago. We talked about this website. I put it not in the, I guess it was in the news dump, I guess. The haveibeenflocked.com. And so the website, not a real fancy bells and whistles website. It looks really, really basically done. I think, is that fair to say, Jerome? Looks like very basically done.
Yeah, it looks pretty straightforward, but it's no bells and whistles.
No, none whatsoever. And so the idea here is that you go to haveibeenflocked.com and you type in your license plate, and then it'll tell you whether or not your license plate's been tracked or been in a database. Okay, but then if you scroll down, because like I put mine in just to see, no search is found. This does not mean your license plate has never been searched. So they go on to say that their most recent data is from the end of July. It says most agencies don't proactively publish audit logs. Records requests can take months or years to fill. Some agencies heavily redact logs. We may not have requested logs from your local agencies yet. And then it says, since December of this past year, Flock no longer provides full logs to agencies, which, why would Flock no longer provide logs to agencies? Because we did talk to, who was it? Oh, we were talking to Amy Pycock from Pacific Legal. She goes, yeah, every one of those contracts that they have reviewed says that Flock carves out that they get to keep all the logs and data and images in database. And so now, obviously, Flock is pushing back on the PR firm saying, no, we're changing. We're going to make the police change too. And so this website here, the more I look at it, I'm like, okay, I can see where this is tapping into the furor over this, but is it actually, what's it actually doing?
That's what I'm not sure about. And again, I do think it's kind of ironic that in the quest to determine whether or not someone has been tracking your license plate, you're giving someone your license plate.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that's a little odd to me. I also, I might be confusing and conflating a couple of different surveillance type stories that we've been covering lately, but I thought that there was a situation where like the data is like written over every 30 days or something. It's like it's not stored.
That's what they're supposed to do.
So what is it that they're getting if it's continually writing it over?
Yeah, I mean,
isn't it like is it just not a snapshot in time? I guess I don't really understand the mechanics of.
And Flock says now that unless there's like a specific case that they're supposed to delete it starting later this year, I guess they're supposed to delete it every 2 weeks or 10 days.
So
whatever
when this website is requesting this information, this log information, are they just getting it from like that narrow window of time? I don't understand.
And if they get it, are they then preserving it?
Right. I have questions.
Well, according to the site itself, if you believe what they're saying, is that they don't retain the information. It's just they constantly update what is being available publicly to them. So I can't imagine if they are being legitimate, that you putting your license plate in there suddenly entering you into some sort of weird database, because it's only, according to the way that the website's supposed to work, it's cross-referencing what information they already have. It's not storing it and then searching for you.
Yeah, okay. I mean, but I'm the person who's going to say, okay, someone has my license plate. Like, I drive around every day. Anybody could have my license plate. So that in and of itself doesn't alarm me. I'm trying to understand if I'm supposed to be concerned about Flock cameras, what having the knowledge that a flock camera has seen my license plate is supposed to help me do that I can't already do?
Okay, so two things. One that's immediately of a concern to me is that this seems to be like an activist sort of website. If they have this information to who's being tracked, and they're not, it doesn't seem like they're doing like Freedom of Information Act type requests. They're just referencing what is publicly available.
Well, they're requesting records and logs.
But it's not as, it doesn't seem like it's as sophisticated as you are like trying to get declassified information and sharing that to the public. It seems more in line with this is a very simple sort of process to do. I think in conjunction with the fact that there is a case of somebody, I believe, going from Wisconsin to Michigan to purchase THC products, and he was only caught because the law enforcement was saying, well, look, we keep seeing this license plate being pinged, traveling between state lines, ending up there and coming back. It's THC is illegal in his home state, so therefore we are going to use that as probable cause for some reason to pull him over. And then, of course, they found the THC products on him. Now, you could argue, yes, he was committing a state crime by doing that, but at the same time, I mean, how many times has what is considered illegal right now changed depending on who's in office?
Yeah, I mean, that's an argument, and he may have some serious legal pushback that he can get to there. I mean, I have questions about whether that establishes probable cause in and of itself. But setting that aside, okay, but what is this site going to do for him? Do you know what I'm saying? Like someone in that situation who is maybe traveling back and forth for legitimate or illegitimate reasons, what is the fact that knowing that someone has seen your license plate, how is that going to change anything that you're doing?
Well, if it was me personally, I would sit there and I would then look up where flock cameras are around my commuting time. I might try to change maybe the way that I commute, but it's
well, why wouldn't you do that already if you're concerned? I guess is my point.
Because... Right. Well, I mean, I personally do. I mean, I'm very much anti-flock. But what I'm saying is that there are a lot of people that don't realize just how many of these cameras are out there and how pervasive it is and how much surveillance is being gathered on top of how many false positives are being...
I think my point is this. If you're concerned enough about it to the point where you're willing to go to a website and say, have I been flocked? Then you're already aware of it enough to be able to say, where are the flock cameras? Like, you don't need this website as an intermediary. It literally, to me, serves no purpose.
Well, okay, so then there's the other fact of the matter of some areas have different jurisdictions with how, or not jurisdictions, but different protocols for how flock cameras are supposed to be operating and where they're supposed to be at. And so this could be a tool that is used to say, look, per our own personal community guidelines of this, why am I in this database when this is not how this was advertised to us? So it gives people, I guess, at least in my opinion, more information on how to properly keep flock accountable, so to speak, even if that doesn't really make a lot of sense.
It's a lot of busy work for very little payoff. If you're already concerned about it, you don't need this website.
Yeah, my guess is this is another basically probably tool to basically keep activists fired up.
Okay.
That's the only thing I could, because like I said, I typed in my license plate and I just kind of assume that I'm all over the databases anyway, because I drive so much every day.
Same.
I get out of work here. I'm driving quite a bit most days. So I'm assuming that I'm tracked everywhere I go. I don't like it. You know, I'm not wild about it. I think it's really interesting to look at the argument over flock cameras, because this is another one, not necessarily Republican versus Democrat.
No.
You know, we had some of our conservative friends all about the flock cameras. You know, basically it's like, well, a little bit of Orwell's fine. Just trust us. We won't let it go too far, is essentially what they're arguing. And we know that we have caught some bad guys using flock cameras. And they have. That part's true.
No question
100%
about
true.
it. Yeah.
But the question comes down to is, okay, we'll write a new policy and now you can trust us. Just leave us alone. No.
Yeah.
No. But I don't know that you put that horse back in the barn at this point.
I don't know that you do either. I guess I'm like just somebody who's like, when I see something like this, like my brain wants to understand the why. I'm like the toddler. Why? But why? I really don't understand the value of this, because I feel like if you're already going to use this tool, you're already alert to the concern about flock cameras.
Right.
And you're already probably taking proactive measures to the extent that you can.
Yeah, see, I don't even know. I mean, can you avoid these cameras?
Jerome's the one to ask about that.
I mean, can you? I mean, there's 120,000 of these, and like in St. Louis, cameras are everywhere. Now, they may or may not be a flock brand. They're not the only brand out there. I mean, there are cameras all over. I mean, can you, between MoDOT's cameras to track traffic, and by the way, you know how MoDOT tracks traffic? When you go on your Maps program or your Waze or whatever, and you see, oh, ahead, the highway, the road I'm on goes from green to yellow to red.
Yes.
Do you know how they do that?
Magic.
Because I can tell you. Because years ago I was meeting with the then head of MoDOT, and he said what they do is they call it metadata. All of it is your cell phone. So they have a contracting agreement with the cell phone companies, and they claim, he told me and the other person I was in this meeting with, he goes, we're not tracking anybody's individual. We couldn't tell you where you were or anything
Just
like that.
where all the phones are.
Right. It's a metadata thing. So if, for instance, on I-70 at the, I don't know,
Blanchette Bridge.
Blanchette Bridge, all of a sudden, all of the phones went to a screeching halt and everything turned red. We know something happened. We dispatch somebody out to there. That's how the maps track that. That's how that works. So the technology is already there. I just assume I'm being surveilled everywhere I go at this point. I don't like it. I just assume that's what's happening.
I don't know if you know this, guys, but you're on camera right now.
Well, and again, there's a difference between the availability to access the information depending on the different sources of things. Right. I'm looking right now on this website, and it lists how many networks that that these cameras are hooked up to, which areas and jurisdictions that it comes from. It includes the reason for some of these infractions as well. So I think this seems to me on face value just to be a good resource to learn more about actually how flocks work and the overall scale of them to people like me that actually care about this stuff.
Okay, fair enough. It means more to you than to me.
Yeah,
we've established.
So you got some thoughts? Who do you side with more, Jerome or Susie? Let us know on Facebook and Rumble, and you can tweet at us and everything in between.
When I say Cracker Barrel, what do you think? What do you think of?
I think of those that cheesy potato hash thing, that side dish.
The failed rebrand of their logo.
Interestingly enough, we may be talking about that as we come back with our Past Forward segment. That and bacon. You like bacon?
I do like bacon.
We'll be talking about that too.
Ooh.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
The people know the truth.
On NewsTalk-STL. From the NewsTalk-STL Weather Center.
After 10 straight days with highs in the 90s and 8 straight days with a triple-digit heat index, the pattern finally breaks today. A cold front moved through overnight, triggered some storms along the way, but that rain's gone and it took the heat along with it. A high of only 84 this afternoon under a mix of clouds and sun. Mostly clear tonight, down to 68, and then a little warmer Tuesday, 88 under mostly sunny skies. Next chance of rain and thunderstorms arrives Tuesday night into Wednesday with on and off wet weather Thursday, too. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
NewsTalk-STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 2 times every weekend on NewsTalk-STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Plus, Vincent's can customize jewelry for your clients. Visit Vincent'sJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
A Pew Research finds 73% of American adults, Republicans and Democrats, are not in favor of men playing in girls' sports. 73%. But the transgender advocates try to claim it is natural for transgender men to compete against girls. While those advocates want you to believe you're out of touch if you don't believe that. That survey says they are the ones out of touch. Break it down by race. 75% of whites don't think transgender men should compete against girls. 67% of Hispanics, 68% of blacks, 68% of Asians. And in the meantime, the WNBA is trying to decide, what do we do about these 2 former NBA stars who now want to play in the WNBA? They know that those men could probably mop the floor with the women in the league. The WNBA is dribbling for an answer. But the shot clock is already running. And dare I say it, yes, I will. The balls are now in their court.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
You know, I'm very proud to say Wellington Environmental has been sponsoring Larry Connors USA for more than a dozen years. Wellington can help you with any hazardous issues at your home or office. And Wellington also helps protect our troops, our nation. Recently, Wellington Environmental has been disinfecting Army vehicles and equipment just back from overseas deployment, making sure they didn't bring back disease or other contaminants. Wellington is also working on some classified jobs with Boeing, and has for years. One hospital had issues with possibly contaminated water. Wellington is on the job. Wellington is also monitoring water wells at an industrial site. Again, in addition to all these big jobs, Wellington can make sure there are no health hazards in your home. He's done it for me. So I'm more than glad to endorse Wellington Environmental. Check them out, environmentalcare.com, environmentalcare.com. Wellington Environmental, your world, cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
When you count on Connor, you're getting the timeless American values that have guided our company from day one. Hard work, impeccable service, and honesty. At Connor Roofing, you aren't just getting a roof, you're getting safeguarded by a neighbor who cares. When you count on Connor, you're receiving protection for your home, your family, and your peace of mind.
Visit ConnorRoofing.com. Free speech is alive and well in America right here.
It's about time somebody stood up for true American values.
What this country needs is some backbone.
Finally, a president who wants to make real change.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tell me, doctor, where are we going this time? Is this the 50s or 1999?
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, friends, it is time to rewind the headlines and fast forward to the fun. So where were we? What were we talking about 1 year ago this week? Well, we kind of alluded to this last week during this segment. The Texas Democrats, the ones that went AWOL, the ones that ran away because they didn't want to be part of the redistricting deal in Texas, well, they did come back home. And the GOP redistricting push resumed. After spending 2 weeks out of state to deny Republicans a quorum, Texas House Democrats returned on August 18th. Their return cleared the way for Republicans to proceed with the Trump-backed congressional map designed to create 5 additional GOP-leaning House seats for 2026. So,
yeah, they stood their ground. They fought. They fled. They did fundraiser. Oh, wait. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Lasted for 2 weeks.
They were on MSNBC.
Yeah. That's a really high bar. So after all that, all the furor, they came back home. There was some talk, I think, at the time, if I'm remembering correctly, about possibly some of them facing some legal consequences for having deserted their posts, so to speak.
Weren't there actual arrest warrants issued?
I believe there were. Now, those were not ultimately followed through on. I think everyone kind of settled everything back down and they went about their business. But Texas went ahead and redistricted. So there you go. Cracker Barrel unveils its new logo. And many absolutely hate it. On August 18th and 19th last year, Cracker Barrel rolled out its modernized branding, most notably removing the familiar old-timer Uncle Herschel and his barrel from the logo. The reaction was immediate. Donald Trump Jr. asked, I can't say this on the air, initials are WTF is wrong with Cracker Barrel. And a lot of people, lit up on social media about, what are they doing? It basically stripped away the brand's identity in favor of bland corporate minimalism, and nobody was happy about it.
Yeah, and I mentioned this at the time, and I got myself in a little bit of trouble. I didn't care for the new branding either. I just thought it was boring, kind of stuff. I didn't get why everybody, why there were so many people who were so angry and yelling, woke and left wing. I'm like, they swung and they missed. It was a bad marketing thing, but I guess I didn't immediately connect it to anything cultural or political, or I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I've got a lot of really nostalgic memories with my grandmother and just family events going on there in general. So to sanitize that, blend it down, get rid of it, and I think it did have to do with some woke nonsense reason why to make it more inclusive or something of the nature, but I was against that. I stopped eating there until they fixed it all back. So
I think too, it was coming on the heels of the whole like Bud Light fiasco,
Right.
so I think people were kind of primed to be suspect of corporate remakes, and so this just kind of played into that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a lousy remake. I mean,
It was stupid.
but I didn't see that. I just kind of went, really? That takes all your personality out. But I didn't think woke DEI. It didn't dawn on me. It didn't hit me that way.
Well, it did for a lot of people. It
Yeah,
did not
it
go
did.
well for Cracker Barrel, and I think their
No.
CEO just stepped down not too long ago.
Yeah.
Probably is kind of a continued fallout from that. Now, if we go back 10 years ago this week, there was historic flooding in Louisiana. Catastrophic flooding around Baton Rouge that killed 13 people, displaced tens of thousands. And here was the big kind of political twist to that. President Trump, candidate Trump and Mike Pence traveled to Louisiana to tour the devastated neighborhoods and meet victims and volunteers. President Obama, meanwhile, remained on vacation at Martha's Vineyard. So there was a little bit of contrast there between the two politicos, if you will. So that was definitely talked about quite a bit at that point. Also, and I completely forgotten about this, Milwaukee was in the midst of a bunch of riots over a police shooting. Go figure. Rioting broke out in Milwaukee's Sherman Park neighborhood after police fatally shot Sylville Smith, who authorities said was armed. And we don't still hear about that case.
No.
Well, I think ultimately the guy that shot him was cleared. The racial component wasn't as much there because both the police officer and the man who was shot were African American, so that wasn't there as much. But yeah, we had riots in Milwaukee, so go figure.
I lost track of all the riots.
They kind of start to blend together, unfortunately. All right, well now let's flash forward. What national days will we be celebrating this week?
Yes.
All right. Today is National Nonprofit Day.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I feel like that's become a dirty word.
Nonprofit?
Because of like the corruption and the fraud that's been kind of unearthed.
Yeah.
The system, like the federal government slush funds that we're seeing there. So unfortunately, I think that's had a negative impact on the way people perceive nonprofits. Obviously, there are plenty of nonprofits out there doing great work.
Most of them probably.
Yes.
Out there. Do
Yes.
anybody have I know you have a favorite.
That would be Dirk's fun.
You got a favorite, Jerome?
Favorite nonprofit?
Yep.
The Jerome Fund for...
It's good. It's a worthy cause.
Are you involuntarily nonprofit?
I am involuntarily
okay.
nonprofit.
It's a worthy cause.
Yes.
My baseball league that I'm on the executive, we're actually in the process of change. We're a nonprofit, but we're actually in the process of changing to a different kind of nonprofit to promote amateur baseball for adults
nice.
in St. Louis.
I like that.
That's St. Louis Baseball Forever League.
Another worthy cause. Today is also National I Love My Feet Day. Now, feet are controversial.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is just to emphasize taking care of your own feet because they are the base on which you stand and which you do everything. And you need to take good care of them. They need to be in good shape so that you can support yourself, walk, run, whatever you need to do. So that's important.
Brought to you by your local podiatrist.
Exactly. It's also National Pineapple Juice Day for those who like pineapple juice.
Pineapple juice.
I like it, okay. Yeah. I like pineapple neutrals. Those are good too. All right. So Tuesday is National Fajita Day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fajita person.
I don't mind a fajita. If I go to a Mexican or a Tex-Mex, there's just always something I like better.
Same.
But I'm not anti-fajita.
Yeah. I'm not either. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
It's National Pinot Noir Day. I had to think about that for a second. Pinot Noir. I've kind of developed a taste for red wines. I like a good Pinot. I like mine chilled though, so I'm gauche. It's also National Ice Cream Pie Day.
I got no issue with that.
I knew you wouldn't.
I like that.
I had a feeling that was going to be a winner for Mike Ferguson.
Yes.
Wednesday is National Potato Day. Who doesn't love potatoes?
Oh, yeah. Favorite form?
Oh, gosh. I don't even know. There's so many. Hashed, like breakfast potatoes.
I do love breakfast potatoes.
Potato skins and mashed potatoes.
Skins and breakfast potatoes. Those are my favorite. Yeah.
The problem is I love them all.
Yeah.
It's also National Soft Ice Cream Day, so we're continuing on with the ice cream theme, that sort of thing.
Last hurrah for the end of summer.
Yeah,
Think of it that way.
exactly. Thursday is National Bacon Lovers Day.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how. I understand some people are not bacon lovers. What I don't understand about this, though, is that it's not National Bacon Day. It's National Bacon Lovers Day. So I thought it was like, was there like some special thing for people? It was about people who love bacon.
To
It's
celebrate
not.
us.
It's not, though. It's just about bacon. They just called it Bacon Lovers Day. I don't know. Whatever. It's also National Hazy IPA Day. Yeah, I know. National Chocolate Pecan Pie Day.
Oh, okay.
I like chocolate pie and I like pecan pie. I've never had them combined. I might need to check that out. Friday is National Senior Citizens Day.
Okay.
Say hello to your favorite senior citizen. National Spumoni Day.
All
a
right.
different
Well,
form.
yeah, there you go.
Good Spumoni. Can't beat that. And National Fantasy Football Draft Day.
Nerds.
Do you do fantasy baseball?
I do not.
Okay.
It ruins it to me. It ruins the watching the game.
All right. Well, I do want to throw out an honorable mention too, because Sunday is National Find Your Inner Nerd Day. So since you mentioned it, there you go.
There it is.
Tell me, doctor, where are we going this time? Is this the 50s or 1999?
There's an old way to buy a mattress, and there's a snooze way. Remember dial-up internet? You'd click on a picture, go make a sandwich, come back, and maybe it had loaded. It worked, but nobody wants to go back. Well, buying a mattress has evolved too. At Snooze Mattress Company, we use advanced pressure mapping technology to understand exactly what your body needs instead of simply asking you to guess after laying on a mattress for a few minutes. When you sleep better, everything gets better.
Ronald Reagan once famously said, "Government is not the solution, government is the problem." When it comes to economic growth, government can be a roadblock. With red tape, regulations, and subsidies, government stifles entrepreneurship and also props up businesses that deserve to go under. Unlike government, free markets encourage risk-taking, freedom to succeed or fail. Governments shouldn't be picking winners and losers, the market should. Free markets benefit the business owner and the customer by encouraging competition. Free market enabled a young man named J.C. Hall selling picture postcards in Kansas City to turn his idea into Hallmark cards. In St. Louis, the free market made it possible for Adolphus Busch to turn his father-in-law's local beer into the world's largest brewery. A free market also means you get to send your kids to the school of your choice. Learn more about free markets at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey, this is Carl Higbee, host of Frontline on Newsmax TV, and you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
By the way, on Rumble, Buck's mom says every day is National Bacon Day.
I'm right there with her.
I got no argument with that whatsoever.
Zero. I've got some leftover bacon at home. I'm going to be using it today.
Where do you like get the best bacon? Like if you went to a restaurant, where would you go to say if somebody says I want some good bacon?
I don't know.
There's two places I can think of. One is Chris's.
Oh, the Pancake House?
Pancake House,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
But the other is First Watch.
I was going to say First
Yeah,
Watch, but
First
then I
Watch.
was like, it's a chain. Do I say that? Yeah.
But they've got the what they call it, the $1 million
$1 million
bacon.
bacon.
Yeah, that's really
which
good.
It is. I don't know. I actually just prefer regular bacon, though.
Okay, so do you put like syrup or anything on your bacon?
Not intentionally.
No.
I'm not going to like not eat it if it has syrup
Right.
on it, but like I like the saltiness of the bacon.
Yeah.
I like syrup in my bacon.
Okay, and then crispy or not?
Crispy is the best.
Gotta be crispy.
Gotta be crispy. Yeah, totally. Okay, we're all correct on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, there it is. All right, 7:49 right now. All right, the left still wants to abolish and stop ICE. They're not doing a very good job of that. Democrat making an early move in the race for the White House, and his strategy sound like a normal human being. And the Cardinals, boy, they had a good weekend. That's for sure. Lots of runs, leaving a lot of fans in Chicago very sad. But you do have to give fans in Chicago, Cubs fans, credit for one thing from this weekend, which I'll tell you about in just a moment. Let's go ahead and do another news dump here.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by STL Fenceworks.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
ICE arrests have reached historic highs, while a lot on the left are still doubling down on wanting to abolish the agency. Border czar Tom Homan was on Fox's One Nation with Brian Kilmeade this weekend.
What they're failing to tell the people is we're enforcing the laws that they wrote, that they enacted. We're not making this up. We're doing the same job we did under any other president, except under the last 4 years under Joe Biden, ICE wasn't allowed to enforce the law.
In July, ICE says they reached a historic milestone with about 51,000 illegal immigration arrests made just in that 31 days.
That's a lot.
It's huge, huge number of that. So while they're busy trying to defund them, then ICE is busy
doing the job. That they were actually, set up to do.
That's the one.
Legislatively,
Yeah.
like Homan was saying.
That
Okay.
one. Yes, exactly. Okay, President Trump says he's ordered a planned military joint exercise with South Korea to be scaled back. Not canceled, scaled back. He says too much planning's gone in. He can't call it off, but he ordered Pete Hegseth to scale it back, if that makes any sense. In a Truth Social post, the president cites both the cost of the exercise and his, and I'm quoting here, very good relationship with Kim Jong-un, of course, being the brutal, cultish, communist dictator of North Korea.
But they get along really well.
He says they've always been respectful. No, they haven't. But it was a really weird Truth Social post the president put out.
It was. It was very Trump being like, okay, this person I'm trying to like curry favor with or get them on my good side right now, so I'm gonna do the little, it's like the push pull thing that he does.
It's weird.
Don't disagree.
Yeah. All right. Some new economic numbers are in, and a lot of Americans cut their spending in July, and that comes as a boost from government tax refunds sort of faded out.
Retail sales slipped 0.6% last month, the biggest drop since May of 2025, from a revised gain of 0.2%. According to the Commerce Department data release, there was a notable bump in spending in both April and May as Americans dipped into their tax refunds. Excluding sales at gas stations and auto dealers, retail sales in July fell 0.2%. Gas prices ticked up again to $4.08 per gallon on Friday, up from $3.85 a month ago, according to Motor Club AAA. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
You see, and one of the things that's going to be the most challenging to get the economy firing on all cylinders again is uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the biggest things.
Yeah,
is
it
uncertainty. And it's all you can trace it all back to energy and oil and gas prices on there. Okay, obviously a lot of Democratic lawmakers, we'll talk about one of them here in the 8 o'clock hour as well, proposing Medicare for all, because all of those government programs, especially healthcare ones, run so well in the niches that they have now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they want to establish a national government-run health program to cover all U.S. residents, and that would basically run private health insurance out of the market, destroy the market. Government's going to do it all. That's what they're pushing for. Eliminating copays and deductibles, but oh boy, wait till you get your tax bill.
Yeah, I just feel like the insurers probably have a stake in that somehow.
Oh, they'll figure out a way to make money.
I don't doubt that they will. That's, I guess, my point.
Yeah.
Like, look underneath the hood there.
Yeah. Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says he does not support Medicare for all, and he was on Meet the Press on NBC talking about that.
No, as you indicated, I haven't co-sponsored the Medicare for All legislation that has been introduced over the last several years. I do think we need to figure out how to fix our broken healthcare system and then build something better once we repair the damage that has been done.
Here's an idea. Repeal Obamacare. Take us back to where we've got free market competition. Let small businesses and different industries band together to get their own group plans. Let the people buy insurance across. There's all kinds of free market solutions that would work. But no,
make your plans portable.
What's the government plan to do this?
Mess it up.
Yeah. Oh, they're successful in that. All right, let's talk road to the White House here a little bit. Obviously, we've talked a lot about the DSA and the socialist wing of the Democratic Party and the fact that they're in the driver's seat right now. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, a Democrat, looks like he's trying to stake out his place in the road to the White House as the guy who's a normal human being in the race of 2028 wannabes.
The middle of the road guy.
Yeah, well, still definitely on the left side of the road, just by comparison.
Well, he's in the middle of the road.
Yeah. He was on CBS's Face the Nation.
I believe socialism is a failed experiment, but I do believe that we need to get results for the American people. And I think when you look at Democratic governors, you see those results. I've been proud to create more jobs than any other governor in our history.
Okay, when he says, you look at governors, Democratic governors, we've delivered that. Well, is that what you're going to say on the campaign trail when you're pointing out the failures of J.B. Pritzker and Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer?
Except for them.
Right. Except for my opponents.
Whitmer's not running.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. She did a podcast with Gavin Newsom over the last week.
Yeah.
And it was like this left-wing love fest that they were having there. And so I was thinking...
Oh, don't get me wrong. She might vie for the VP spot.
That's what I thought, too.
She's not going to run as a number one. No.
I watched that. I'm like, are we looking at the presidential and the VP nominees right there? That's what I was wondering on there. I will say this, though. Gavin Newsom's hair was spectacularly perfect in that. There was not a single hair out of place. It was impressive.
Something about those California guys, because Reagan's hair was like that.
Yeah, it was very Reagan-esque. Not policy, but hair.
Yes.
Without a doubt. Just saying. Okay, public access to a large part of Ladue Road not allowed most of this week. Well, not to people like us. Just saying. Okay, because of the BMW golf tournament at Bellerive Country Club, access to Ladue Road between 270 and 141. That's a pretty long stretch.
It's a stretch.
That's a long stretch. It is restricted between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. this week. Same thing goes for Mason Road between Conway Road and Hibbler Road. If you do not have credentials from BMW, if you do not have credentials from the golf tournament displayed on your vehicle, they're not going to let you on those public roads.
Stay away, poors.
Yes. That's exactly the way that I looked at it.
Terrible.
And if you live in that area, I'm sure that they gave you...
I have friends who do. Love you all.
Yeah.
I have relatives who do.
That I'm sure, like, here's your thing, so you're allowed to go home and back, because we'll allow you to go to your own property. Oh, jeez. Okay, because we will compile data on anything these days, there's a new report on which soft drink, or soda, pop, whatever, is most popular in each state. What do you think it's going to be, or what would you want it to be?
Well, I mean, I think Dr. Pepper is where it should be at, but
okay.
I don't think that's what it is in Missouri.
Sarsaparilla.
Well, believe it or not, in Missouri, the most popular is indeed Dr. Pepper.
Oh, that's classic.
There you go. In Illinois, just regular Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm.
And Coca-Cola was only most popular in 3 states. The most popular across the country, 17 states, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, Dr. Pepper's good.
Yeah.
I need a Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Might have to get one.
There it is. So, because we will run a report on anything. Cardinals actually won the series over the Cubs 2-1.
In fine fashion.
They hit a lot of home runs.
They did.
A lot of home runs both Saturday and Sunday.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At U.S. Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With U.S. Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
U.S. Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With U.S. Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose U.S. Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. U.S. Med. Better service, better care. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. First, it was the reflecting pool. Now, vandals have allegedly hit another target in D.C.
President Trump says vandals are to blame for large areas of dead grass on the National Mall near the World War II Memorial. It's the same spot where he had a stage built and hosted crowds for his July 4th celebration. Trump made the accusation in a social media post Sunday evening, but he didn't say why he believes it's the work of vandals rather than trampled turf from Independence Day festivities. Trump has repeatedly blamed vandals for damage to his renovation projects in Washington. Mike Hemp in Washington.
Tropical storm Lala raked Hawaii with high winds and rain without ever making landfall. No deaths reported, but in Indiana, record flooding is blamed for at least 7 deaths. President Trump has ordered a scaling back of the traditional joint U.S.-South Korea military drills.
Seoul considers the joint exercise core to its alliance with the U.S. They have been held nearly every year since the Korean War. Mr. Trump broke from tradition when he suspended the drill after his first meeting with Kim Jong-un in 2018, and they didn't resume until 2022. In a post on social media last night, Mr. Trump repeated his view that the exercises are costly for the U.S. and provoke North Korea. He's known to be frustrated with South Korea for not assisting in the war in Iran and said North Korea had been unthreatening and respectful.
That's a BBC's Jay Kwan in Seoul. Ukraine's state energy company says Russia has attacked its facilities 13 times over the past week, with nearly 300 attacks this year. Ukrainian officials accusing Russia of weaponizing winter by targeting the power grid to weaken civilian morale. Wall Street Dow futures up 191 points, make that 191 points lower for the Dow. Townhall.com.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at 2 different options, debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
After 10 straight days with highs in the 90s and 8 straight days with a triple-digit heat index, the pattern finally breaks today. A cold front moved through overnight, triggered some storms along the way, but that rain's gone and it took the heat along with it. A high of only 84 this afternoon under a mix of clouds and sun. Mostly clear tonight, down to 68, then a little warmer Tuesday, 88 under mostly sunny skies. Next chance of rain and thunderstorms arrives Tuesday night into Wednesday with on and off wet weather Thursday too. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, it's Susie Moore for Window World. Did you know that in just over the last 20 years, Window World of St. Louis has improved the look and thermal efficiency for over 80,000 customers in St. Louis? Plus, Window World windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And now, Window World is offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Call them today at 800-GET-WINDOWS for a free in-home, no-pressure estimate. That's Window World at 800-GET-WINDOWS. They're the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues.
You never know who you'll run into at Sugar Creek Golf Course. Stop by the News Talk VIP Lounge inside the Sugar Creek Clubhouse and catch familiar faces like Jamie Allman, Mike Ferguson, Tim Jones, Nick Schroer, and more from the News Talk STL team. Grab a cold drink, say hello, and take in the atmosphere. And before you leave, swing by the Pro Shop to pick up your official News Talk STL polo. The Sugar Creek Pro Shop is the only place you can get one. It's all happening at Sugar Creek, so don't miss it.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
A lot of things shaking, things always shaking on the weekend. We'll sort it all out with Rob Bluey from the Heritage Foundation, and he's the executive editor of the Daily Signal. That'll be Monday at 9:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
I'm not like the rest of you. I don't make mistakes.
Susie Moore.
What you're telling me doesn't sound logical, my dear.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
You need to get to go. I need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
You know, a lot of times when we're saying things like, I don't trust the science, tongue-in-cheek in conservative media, we are talking about Anthony, I am the science, Fauci.
Oh, yeah.
But is there a larger distrust of science, scientific process, and everything that goes with that as well? I think there is.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the question would be why? I think that's fairly obvious to see. And is it a bad thing? Well, interestingly, there is a book out now. This is a new one here. The website is disruptedscience.com. Okay, so the book is called How the Internet Disrupted Science, and we actually have both co-authors of this book here. We're joined by Kent Anderson and Joy Moore, so appreciate y'all being here. Let me start with that bigger picture, and Joy, let me start with you here. Is the importance of trusting science or the scientific process in itself? If everything's being done the way that it should, why is that part of, say, the foundation of a high-trust society? And I would argue we do not have a high-trust society anymore. But why is the ideal to have something that we do trust?
The ideal to have something that we do trust is letting the people who are doing the real science do their work and communicate their findings to each other. And I think where we've gotten into a situation of less public trust is when more of the scientific papers have been pushed onto the public for one reason or another. It doesn't matter, what you believe in or not. There's always somebody who's going to be able to pick up a scientific paper and say, well, this proves this definitively. And I think that's what we've gotten ourselves into, is that this information used to be not for the public, but because the public has been so curious, especially since COVID and trying to understand like what's going on in society that's affecting us, these papers are getting a lot of press, and it's really gotten out of control.
Hey, Kent, a lot of times we heard during the arguments and the debates during, as Joy was mentioning, the COVID era there, the science is settled. Well, it turns out it wasn't really settled. But I think this is following up from what Joy was just saying a second ago, Kent, and that is when somebody uses the science, being whatever the paper is, whatever the research is, as sort of an advocacy weapon, we tend to have a sort of skeptical recoil to that. So is it a matter of we're not doing the scientific process or writing the right way, or are we not reading it and using it the right way?
Yeah, so I think one big bit of context that we talk about in the book and how the internet has affected this is that we're all living in what they call the attention economy, right? So there's money to be made from going to extremes and enraging people. Enragement is engagement and things like that. So there's and people find ways with Substack or social media to get people to click on things, right? And so in that kind of communication environment, disputes are rewarded and experts can get swamped. And it's natural for things to feel unsettled because there are economic drivers to reward people who unsettle the discussion, right? And that doesn't help scientific evidence win out the day when it's better than the argument or the skepticism, because it just becomes this whole hodgepodge of competing claims and people trying to get your clicks. And that's one of the concerns about how people can't really understand and can't accept science because it's always being disputed for money.
The book is called How the Internet Disrupted Science. It was written by Kent Anderson and Joy Moore, both of whom are with us right now. One of the things that your PR shop sent over to me, which I thought was an interesting angle on it. Let me just read from what you all sent me. Bad science can make its way into news stories, health claims, public policy, and the information ordinary people encounter online, which, Kent, is exactly what you were just talking about. But what jumped out at me, Joy, was that idea of public policy. And when we talk about public policy, we're talking about laws, we're talking about rules, we're talking about expensive, we're talking about things you must do, things you cannot do. And that's where it really hits our real life. So if we have a engagement-driven or search for the funding or the conflict-driven science at this point, we all have an interest in pushing back, or we all have an interest in being objective or more engaged in it. Whereas earlier you said, let the scientists do their thing at the universities, at the centers, that sort of thing. But if we're looking at public policy and rules and do's and do nots, then don't we have that interest as a layman or a laywoman to keep an eye on this?
We absolutely do. We've turned the corner. We're now in an age of policy-based evidence, where there are so many papers out there. There's so much churn going on in the scientific publishing space, whether it's, established journals, new journals, preprint servers. There's no dearth of scientific information available to anybody who wants to make a claim to support a policy. And that's what we're seeing. And the point of us writing this book and going into so much detail that's probably pretty boring for most people about the history of scientific publishing is that the production of these papers is part of a global network of commercial publishers who are making money, either directly or indirectly, from putting this information out into the public sphere where it can be picked up by anybody who wants to use it for anything, including taking it, all the way to the U.S. government to change policies. And what we hadn't seen before is that science had not been at the forefront of politics, but we've certainly learned that in the last 8 years, that it is scientific information is really capturing the hearts and minds of citizens, and it's being used for good and for bad in many different ways.
Okay, so Kent, how do we redirect back to something where this is useful and trustworthy, be it from the universities, be it from the government or something else? How do we balance out the transparency, the freedom of speech, the freedom of research, the academic freedom? How do we balance all of that to get us back to a situation where everybody's simmered down a little bit and people are doing research on whatever it is for all the right reasons? Or can we at this point?
Yeah, I think we can, and optimism is not a choice. It's the only way forward. The one thing we haven't touched on yet are the financial incentives that Joy hinted at a little bit. In that, one of the big changes that the internet economy brought to scientific publishing was the advertising model, and scientific publishers adopted that via what they call gold open access, and that means it's pay-to-play publishing. So that has spiked up the number of papers going through the system, and also made it so that it's profitable for publishers to push those papers out under the guise of legitimate science, and then somebody who's grifting on that for various reasons, whether it's for a company or for a political ideology or for a combination of the two, can pay to play in that market. So I think one of the things that we recommend is you have to have accountability to the expert community. And that means going back to a model where either through a membership or a subscription, the experts actually pay you to give them good information. And if you don't give them good information, if you aren't serving the orthopedic surgeons or the cardiothoracic surgeons or the OBGYNs with expert information, they can cancel. And you don't have an incentive to just publish anything that is science shaped and push it out into the social media attention economy.
All right, Joy, obviously I'm not a scientist. I don't study or research anything unless you count my minor in political science, which, by the way, does not count for anything. So if those of us who are normal people, we're looking at, claims that show up on the internet. They show up on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. And it's like the new research says this, new report says this. I see it constantly in my news alerts. Well, new research says broccoli might actually kill you by the age of 32. Look at this. If you eat enough plastic forks, maybe you'll live to be 100. There's a new paper, whatever the stupid thing is that's out there. How do we start deciphering some of these for ourselves? Because telling the public to disengage at this point, probably not going to happen. If anything, we're going to overengage in all the good and the bad that comes with it. So how do we sort of vet that back to a thing where we are getting good consumer grade information once we get past all of the academic information that Kent was just talking about?
Mm-hmm. I saw a great one this morning. A new study out of Finland said that men who drink more coffee have higher testosterone levels.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, and they didn't measure out how much caffeine was in their coffee or things like that. The point is that these papers are not even a dime a dozen. They're a fraction of a cent a dozen, and they are produced by people who have interests in just doing some research to do their job and put a paper out. But because they are free, they become clickbait for these news outlets that you and I and everybody else gets into our feed. We're listening to the nightly news and it says, today you should drink chocolate, for dinner, or you should, have red wine or don't have red wine. Those types of papers have been coming out forever, but now it's like an arms race because there aren't a lot of really good scientific journalists who are doing the reporting. And so what you're seeing in your feed is pickups of these free papers that are basically press releases for the scientists, as opposed to, validated, this is what we should all do, the type of thing. If you go to your doctor tomorrow, he's probably not going to tell you to up your numbers of cups of coffee every day to get your testosterone up.
I would go to that doctor though, just to get the result that I wanted.
Might be cheaper.
Dr. Dunkin' Donuts.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're visiting with.
There was literally a Dunkin' Donuts ad on that news report that I read this morning.
Oh my goodness. All right. We're visiting with Kent Anderson and Joy Moore. The new book is called How the Internet Disrupted Science. Kent, let me wrap up with you. I've just got a moment or so left here. So the bottom line then is what you've laid out, sort of a scientific process reform, for lack of a better term, that you've laid out here. But for the rest of us, what do we do about it? I'm one of those who's hesitant to say, pass new laws, put new restrictions on it, because the bottom line is if there's money to be made on something, somebody's going to find a way to do it scrupulously or not. So how do we get that back? Because one of the things with the COVID era is a foundation of our country and our culture that has been kind of fractured in a big way. And we don't have the high trust society that we used to have. I mean, I mentioned a week ago or so, one of the local health departments here took every bit of the bad science, as it turns out, and forced it on people through rules or regulations. And if they contacted me and said, Mike, can I come on your show because we want to talk about why people should wash their hands to avoid getting sick, I would tell them no, because nobody trusts you anymore, even if you're saying something non-controversial. And we should be able to trust them. And while some scientists say we have to get back to learning to trust the science, my argument is, well, the science needs to be trustworthy then.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's why we emphasize the role of incentives in all of this, whether it's financial incentives, click incentives, or other things, or catering to the feudal overlords of Silicon Valley. And we think we need to get rid of all of those kind of bad incentives in the scientific communication process, as many as we can. And we need to, the reason we wrote the book and published it as quickly as we could was to ring the alarm for the public and say, hey, this is going on. The scientific publishing space that you thought was, all buttoned up is not. It's responding to bad incentives in a big way, and you are being misled in a lot of cases. And then the internet is amplifying all of that and turning it into echo chambers, and you're all discombobulated. And we want to get back to a point where the scientific enterprise is doing its job properly, and then everything should settle down from there.
All right,
Really
and we learned
upstream, downstream problem.
All right, we learned more about your the book and the reasons why it matters. Where?
DisruptedScience.com. The book's available, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, other retailers. And we have a podcast called Disrupted Science, and you can follow us there as well.
All right, Kent, Joy, thanks so much for the information.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, when in doubt, racism.
Racism.
Play that race card. How about this? Should a new generation bring back the concept of the New Deal, which is government's going to do it for you? Yeah, because there's a presidential wannabe who definitely wants to do that. We'll talk about that around 8:22.
Making cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
A cross between Socrates and Dirty Harry.
On News Talk STL.
Hey, folks, Jamie Allman here for Newstedter's Fine Jewelry right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. WowDiamonds.com. It's Wow Diamonds for a reason. These are beautiful lab-grown diamonds. They are gorgeous. They will blind you when you walk in and see them, but that's a good thing. Great engagement sets, wedding sets, all these beautiful God-created gems, sapphires, rubies, you name it, garnets, and also all the gold you need, and the famous Bull of a Watch, WowDiamonds.com.
Never paint again. This is Darren, owner of Rhino Shield. Want to eliminate painting your home, business, or church? Call the experts at Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic wall coating to regular paint and vinyl. Perfect for aluminum, steel, unpainted brick, block, stucco, ephes, drive-it, cement board, and wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
News, analysis,
I'm glad you're talking about this.
opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
The Mike Ferguson Show is one of my favorite programs. In addition to Larry Connor's USA, catch my program at 6. Now, back to Mike.
All right, so when in doubt, declare that you're going to solve racism in America.
Yes.
Or something like that. Or offer a bunch of free stuff.
Free stuff is always a attention grabber.
It's an attention grabber because the other part is other people pay for the free stuff.
Yeah.
And as long as you don't like the other people, that's all that really matters. If you can make people angry at the other people and take their money to give you free stuff, you got yourself a campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. All right. 8:23 right now. So Ro Khanna, who not being shy about his presidential ambitions, he is calling for a multiracial New Deal to save democracy.
Okay. I don't understand how those things are connected, but all right.
Yeah, just kind of like the talking points of the various different degrees of leftism all rolled into one. Now, as Susie pointed out earlier, we talked about this, I remember on air a little bit earlier, when you talk about the actual New Deal, anybody younger than my generation, Gen X, they're going to think of the Green New Deal when they hear New Deal. I immediately think of the Franklin Delano Roosevelt New Deal, which the history, the debate in history is on over that. The claim that it ended the Depression has been basically debunked by economists of essentially all stripes. Even leftist economists said, yeah, it actually extended the Depression. But I heard the stories from my grandparents who lived through it, lived through the Depression, lived through the New Deal, and so that's the secondhand exposure that my generation had, which would not be something that your generation had.
No, I would actually also be surprised to find out how many people my age actually know what the Green New Deal is, because it doesn't seem like many of them were paying attention during the Biden administration.
Well, to be fair, neither was President Biden.
Yeah, well, exactly. But when the people that I've talked to, most of them on the left, when they hear the New Deal, they know it's FDR, and they credit it with actually solving the Depression, not making things possibly worse.
Yeah, so. That's what happens when victors rewrite the narrative afterwards. Okay, so Ro kind of goes on an NPR sort of video podcast thing. I don't know that this aired in full. It's like a 35, 40-minute discussion. But here's one clip of what he was talking about FDR's New Deal, and then obviously throwing in the race and then the populist leftist economics with it.
He excluded a lot of the Black South, where domestic workers, agricultural workers didn't get a chance. He purposely set Social Security at 65, knowing that Black life expectancy was 59.
Okay, so let me call out Rokana on this. Life expectancy for everybody was around 59 at that point on average. So that wasn't just Black life expectancy. That was everybody expectancy. So if you're going to critique FDR for setting it in the 60s, 65, and say, but we knew that 59, well, that can be fair, but he's dishonestly playing race games with it.
Yeah. I mean, you could take any sort of statistical analysis, any sort of data, and then say, well, for Black people, for Hispanic people, and then omit the fact that that's a general population.
Right. Yeah. Here's what he goes on to say.
That was the only way he was going to get Southern support for his social reforms.
He excluded, of course, Japanese Americans and turned them.
That part's true.
That is true.
That's true.
But a multiracial New Deal, in my view, is what is needed. And it will probably be one of America's greatest moments, because what we can do and will do in America, I don't know if it'll be my generation or the next generation, we will become the world's first cohesive multiracial democracy.
Okay, so that's Congressman Ro Khanna there. So you may say, well, what is a multiracial New Deal? Well, he hasn't really defined that. So I did a search. I read the NPR article on this. I did not sit and watch 40-some minutes of Ro Khanna droning on. But then I went and did a bunch of searches trying to find what he means by this. He hasn't explicitly laid out what a multiracial New Deal is, but I did find his Substack. And so among the things that he says in his version of New Deal, an updated New Deal, so I'm just going to go with that's what he's talking about. Of course, using air quotes here, free health care. Using air quotes, free child care. So he says he wants to build 1,000 trade schools and tech centers. Now, listen, I actually will partially agree with that.
Yeah.
Because I would love to see a whole lot of money diverted from four-year universities and colleges and diverted towards trade schools and tech centers.
Oh, absolutely.
I actually agree with that. You're not putting up 1,000 of them, especially when you've got so many in so many parts of the country. You've got graduates from schools that can't read at a third or fourth grade level. Ivy League schools now have remedial reading and math classes. Ivy League schools.
Who are supposed to be like the most prestigious, pretentious universities out there.
Yeah. And then, so I don't have any problem redirecting towards trade schools and tech centers and apprenticeship programs or certificates and things like that. I actually think that should be part of the discussion on this. But he also says part of his deal is a right, I'm using air quotes again here, to buy a house with zero down and low interest loan after working 7 years. So you get a job at 18. By the time you're 25, you have a right, government guaranteed right, to buy a home with no money down and then a very low interest rate.
So a couple things here. I know free is in air quotes on the sheet, but he's implying that means that healthcare companies and childcare companies are going to not charge for these services, right? It's not It's not the actual free where you're going to take tax dollars, reallocate them to lower the cost of the service, right?
So trust the government with your child care because they're doing such a bang-up job of it in places like California, Minnesota, Michigan, Illinois, right? Trust the government with your health care. Go ask most people who deal with the VA what that's like or how much fun it is to work your way through Medicare and Medicaid. And so basically expand it to everybody so that you've got one government program. And by the way, go to Canada right now. You know what they're doing? They're trying to get to the United States to get health care and pay for it out of pocket instead of the system that they've got in Canada. This is just one of the most demonstrably stupid ideas that we've got, which, you know, this is one of the areas where it's very popular with so many people because we don't look at history.
Yeah, per capita, Canadians actually have a higher death rate waiting for care than Americans do for not having access to potential care. Now, the other thing is the right to buy a house.
Yeah.
I mean, if I save up money for 7 years and I can afford, doesn't that already give me the right to buy a house?
Well, you've got a right to buy a house. Now, listen, bad ideas, stupid ideas when it comes to housing and promoting it have come from both parties.
Yes.
Housing is an equal opportunity offender when it comes to both parties because everybody's rushing to be the most populous. What he's talking about is economically untenable and just insane. It was like President Trump saying, we need to start doing 50-year mortgages. No, that is horrendous. You are doubling the cost of a home. Maybe tripling it.
Yeah.
Just a really dumb idea. So how about this? Go back to a free market.
Yeah. Build more houses.
Yeah, to some degree, yeah. The government get out of the way of the market building houses. And that goes not just federal government. That's like local government. I mean, we talked a lot about St. Charles. And they're pushing to stop housing from coming in and then going, well, why can't anybody afford any houses? What they're really saying is, well, just go buy them in the city. We don't want you here.
Yeah.
Until you have money, then you can come here.
Well, you don't need a whole lot of money if you want to enjoy the News Talk STL podcast, specifically Mike Ferguson in the Morning, which you can find on Omni Studio. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I'm sure there are others that I don't use, but whatever podcast platform you use, look up Mike Ferguson in the Morning so you can keep up to date with the segments that you missed. Once again, look up NewsTalkSTL.com or look up Mike Ferguson in the Morning and find us at your favorite podcast platforms.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning.
People talk about federal money as if it falls from heaven. You know, we thank heaven for it, but it came out of people's pockets.
On News Talk STL. From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
After 10 straight days with highs in the 90s and 8 straight days with a triple-digit heat index, the pattern finally breaks today. A cold front moved through overnight, triggered some storms along the way, but that rain's gone and it took the heat along with it. A high of only 84 this afternoon under a mix of clouds and sun. Mostly clear tonight, down to 68, and then a little warmer Tuesday, 88 under mostly sunny skies. Next chance of rain and thunderstorms arrives Tuesday night into Wednesday with on and off wet weather Thursday, too. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Fox News commentary with Laura Ingraham. Next.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Laura Ingraham looks at the possibility of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez running for president.
These next 6 months will be crucial for AOC. What happens in the midterms with El Sayed in Michigan, what happens in New York under Mamdani, will all be taken into account by the voters, who in her party want, above all, a winner who will undo 4 more years of Donald Trump. The key question is going to be, how does she do on that debate stage? We know her progressive bona fides are not in doubt, but she's using her, her story in an interesting way, too. Her personal reproductive story to relate to women of a certain age and stage in life, that may have some appeal. But if she's actually pressed on substantive issues involving economic policy, foreign policy, It's a total mess.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Tired of big corporate repair shops? J&J Auto and Tire is family owned and St. Louis proud. 16 years of honest answers, even when it's not what you want to hear. Digital inspections sent straight to your phone, videos and photos of exactly what we found. No guesswork, no pressure, just a trained service advisor helping you make the right call. Contactless drop-off, loyalty rewards, fleets welcome. All backed by a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty. J&J Auto and Tire on Page and Overland. Honest repairs, real people. Book today. JamandJAuto.com.
Hey everyone, this is Jesse from Reach Reproductive Health, and I need you to mark your calendar because on October 22nd, it's going to be a big night in St. Louis. It's going to be our second annual Reach Gala, and it's happening at the factory. Incredible live music, powerful speakers, a night to celebrate life, and to support the Reach mission. Stay tuned to find out who's taking the stage. I promise you won't want to miss it. Registration is open right now at outreachforlife.org/gala.
Dreaming about a vacation but not sure where to start? Should you book that all-inclusive resort or a cruise? Which destination? What cruise line? And how do you know you're getting the best value? That's where Magic Expeditions comes in. We're your St. Louis local travel experts, helping you choose the vacation that fits. Whether a relaxing, adults-only escape, family-friendly resort, or unforgettable cruise adventure, skip the stress, the guessing, and endless online searching. Visit MagicExpeditions.com. That's MagicExpeditions.com.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
NewsTalkSTL.
Good morning, St. Louis. Hey, it's Vince from The Vince Show right here on News Talk STL every weeknight at 8. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Okay, quick heads up, and I'll remind you of this when we go into the news dump here towards the end of the show. Us commoners are not going to be permitted on Ladue Road for much of the week.
They're keeping out the peasantry.
They are They're keeping out the peasantry. Okay, so what we're talking about here is Ladue Road between 270 and 141. So this is a really long stretch of Ladue Road. If you do not live there and you are not, if you do not live there, and I'm not making this next part up, and you're not driving a BMW, I'm actually not making that up, and you're not part of some sort of thing with the golf tournament, there's a big professional golf tournament going on, you're not going to be allowed. Starting 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. all of this week because of the golf tournament that's happening at Bellerive Country Club. So you've got to have a credential to get onto the public road that BMW is offering, or that they're issuing. They're not like, I'm not going to get one. You're not going to get one. But the people who live there, I'm sure they've all been given their credentials that they can get to and from their home. How kind of them. But the bottom line is there, and also on Mason Road between Conway and Hibbler. If you don't have the credentials issued by BMW, you're not allowed to be on these public roads.
So even if I rent a BMW from like a dealership or something,
you could probably, they still want the credentials, and there's special parking places for people with BMWs if you're going to watch the tournament or whatever. But there are like special perks if you're driving a BMW. It's really bizarre. So just keep that in mind, and I'll update us all again. I'll remind you that in the news up here in just a little bit. Okay, the election coming up. We're obviously going to talk a lot about Amendment 3, the pro-life Amendment 3 that's on the ballot. But a lot of people may not realize that there are 2 other proposed state constitutional amendments on the ballot. I did not know that till this weekend.
I had not heard anything
I'm
about
sure
that.
that I've scrolled on the Secretary of State's website and seen it, but it didn't register. I saw somebody mention it on social media. I'm like, well, that's interesting. And I went and looked up the Secretary of State's website, and sure enough, there are Amendments 7 and 8 also on the ballot. So we all know about Amendment 3. I'm not going to talk about Amendment 3 at the moment. We're going to have plenty of time to do that. But you're also going to be asked to vote on Amendments 7 and 8. And Amendment 7 is a big question. So I looked up and I saw that State Senator Adam Schnelting was a big driving force behind Amendment 7. So Adam's going to be on the show tomorrow at around 8:05. So here's what it would do essentially is that if we pass Amendment 7, and I have not made up my mind on this at all, it would direct the Missouri legislature to establish something called the Show Me Prosperity Fund. So whatever the legislature decides, small, large, whatever, take a pool of the state's coffers and basically invest in an S&P 500 sort of index fund or funds that specifically looks at the S&P, which historically has a good rate of return over the years. It has up years, down years, far more up years than down years, but that's what it is. The idea behind this is that once that's invested, the dividends as it grows would then be able to be used to pay for things that taxes pay for, therefore eliminating state-imposed taxes. You know, I guess it would just like, okay, we got enough here, we can get rid of this tax. Oh, we got more, we can do this. And then it would put restrictions on what the legislature could do with the money and the state treasurer and things like that. So essentially what you're talking about is the government buying a mutual fund portfolio. I would say a stock portfolio, but if you're talking about an index, you're talking about buying an index fund, which is a fund made up of thousands of shares of other companies. So you do have the government buying shares, stock shares, just in these index funds. And so the idea, like I said, is that it makes money. Then you take the money and pay off people's taxes. I would want to see safeguards that would say, the government isn't allowed to look at this and say, look, we made more money, we can spend more stuff.
Yeah.
It must direct that this cannot be used for any new programs or floating programs. It can only go to alleviating taxes. And we're going to talk to Senator Schnelting tomorrow on that. So financially, I think it's creative, but I haven't decided whether I like it or not.
I would need to probably know more about what the actual road, so to speak, would look like with this. I mean, if you put Nancy Pelosi in charge of it, maybe we'll get a good ROI, and that would probably help out a little bit.
Through the insider trading.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just something on face value about this that doesn't sit right with me. It's just I don't know enough about it to really articulate that.
Right. And so if you've got questions about that, you can send those to me, and I'll try to incorporate as many of those as we can. But that's going to be called Amendment 7. And I suspect, and we're talking about an audience here in News Talk STL who's engaged.
Yes.
We're talking about an audience who knows more than the average bear. I'm not trying to suck up to y'all. That's just what happens when you go out of your way to consume news programming. You know more stuff.
Yes.
And I still suspect that there's a whole lot of people who just said, I've never heard of Amendment 7. Because I hadn't heard of it until this weekend. And I do this for a living.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a lot more information on that. So here's what I'm recommending. We're going to have the conversation with Senator Schnelting. We're going to put it up on the podcast like we do with everything else. Check it out. Put it up on your social media saying, hey, guys, guess what? You're going to vote on this. Here's more information about it. And then what I would do is I would just put whether you agree or you disagree, if you're going to vote yes or you're going to vote no. And I'm not going to argue with either way.
Fair enough.
The same. All right, coming up on 8:43 right now. Another amendment, Amendment 8. Okay, so essentially what we're doing here on this one is we're taking something that's in state law, and if we pass this, it goes into the state constitution. So this has already been approved by the law, signed in by a governor. I don't know when it was put into place. But what this would do then is the Missouri Constitution would require that county sheriffs be elected.
Aren't they already elected?
I don't know that. Well, by state law, they are now. But this would make it a constitutional thing. Yeah, because now there are some places around the country, I suspect, that sheriffs are appointed. You know, that they answer to the county commission or to whatever. And so it's already required that sheriffs be elected. This would just bump it up from statute, from state law, up to the state constitution. I don't have an argument against it. I mean, basically what would change? Nothing. Other than future legislatures would not be able to change it.
Okay.
So they wouldn't be able to pass a law that carve out this county or charter counties or second-class counties or third-class. They wouldn't be able to pass a law to carve out and say, well, these can be appointed. It's in the state constitution. The sheriff must be elected for 4-year terms.
I mean, we've already had an issue with loaded dice. And
That's right, yeah.
And he was elected.
He was elected, yeah,
So
he was elected.
I don't know really where the big issue comes in if it's an appointee versus an elected thing. If this is already an issue we're having with sheriffs to begin with some sheriffs to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the flip side of that then, Jerome, would be, but if it's working, then let's solidify it and enshrine it in the Constitution. So the question comes down to, is this something that should be in the Constitution? Yeah. I think you could make an argument for that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see both sides of it.
Yeah, because it's regulating how government must operate.
Yeah.
Is essentially, and that's essentially what the Constitution is for. When you think of all the stupid stuff that's in our state constitution now, because it's not easy. If you've got $30, $40, $50 million, you can buy yourself a part of Missouri's constitution.
Mm-hmm.
This here is not, I mean, we literally have bingo in our state constitution. I am not making that up. We have bingo because of the massive bingo lobby that got that passed years ago.
Big bingo.
Big bingo. And then, of course, with marijuana, that was a constitutional amendment purchased by the cannabis industry. And then we've got sports betting now in, which was purchased by the gambling websites and the casinos and all that. So this right here looks like it actually is more of, this is the state constitution saying this is how part of government must run.
Mm.
So you can agree or disagree with it. If you disagree with the state law, then you won't like it. If you think the state law is fine, then you probably don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very bizarre to me for some reason, but we'll find out more about that as we learn more. Mm-hmm. Now, I've noticed something interesting going on. We've been growing on social media.
Huh.
Yeah, it seems like we're doing a pretty good job because we see that number going up and it makes us feel good, but I have a suspicion that not everybody that enjoys our content is also subscribed and following us. So,
is it because of all the posting that I do?
It's because of all the internet fighting you do.
All the
internet. Yeah.
Jerome's like, you post one thing a day, Mike.
It's like, I'm like, oh, that is Mike Ferguson. Okay, it's not a hacked account. But you can be part of the movement by joining us on NewsTalkSTL.com and looking up the official NewsTalk STL websites on Facebook, Rumble, X, YouTube. I'm sure there's some others out there as well, but those are the main big four. And then you can leave your comments letting us know what you agree with, what you disagree with, and just keep up to date with all the events that we're doing. So again, NewsTalkSTL.com, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, X. Give us a follow or subscribe.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rates you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
Okay, so one side wants to abolish and defund ICE. The other side wants ICE to go full tilt even more. Reality is they're still going full tilt.
Yes.
Also, One of the Democratic presidential wannabes staking out his claim as the normal human being in the race.
Wow.
Oh, man. The Cardinals. Listen, the Cardinals have not be-slapped a lot of teams around this year.
No.
But if you're going to pick one to be-slap around, you know who it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it this weekend.
Ooh.
All right. It is 8:49. Let's go ahead and do one more news dump here.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by Great American Divers. The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
Border czar Tom Homan was on One Nation with Brian Kilmeade on Fox over the weekend, and he says ICE arrests have now reached historic high levels.
Retail sales slipped 0.6.
Oh, that's not the right one. I don't know why that popped up here. All right, let's try this one. How about this one with Tom Homan?
What they're failing to tell the people is we're enforcing the laws that they wrote, that they enacted. We're not making this up. We're doing the same job we did under any other president, except under the last 4 years under Joe Biden, ICE wasn't allowed to enforce the law.
In July, ICE immigration-related arrest reached an historic milestone, 51,000 immigration arrests made in July alone.
Wow.
51,000.
Not a bad start.
That's massive.
Yeah.
That is a huge number. Okay, President Trump says he has ordered a planned joint military exercise with South Korea to be scaled back. He didn't call it off. He said it's gone too far in the planning to do that. He put up on Truth Social that he's ordered Defense War Secretary Pete Hegseth to scale that back, citing both the cost of the exercises and his, and I'm quoting the president here from Truth Social, very good relationship with Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un, of course, being a brutal, cultish, communist dictator of North Korea.
Yeah, the amount of laws that they have against bad things that can get you and your entire family arrested for life is just absolutely insane.
Yeah, exactly. So he goes on to say, based on the fact that it's too late to cancel, I've instructed Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to substantially reduce the joint military exercises. Let's see here. What else did he have here? That he says this will send a signal that the exercises send a signal that's totally inappropriate and hostile to a country that, as long as Donald J. Trump has been president, has been unthreatening and respectful, meaning communist North Korea. Okay, whatever. All right, some new economic numbers are in, and shoppers unexpectedly cut their spending in July as a boost from government tax refunds have sort of dissipated.
Retail sales slipped 0.6% last month, the biggest drop since May of 2025, from a revised gain of 0.2%. According to the Commerce Department data release, there was a notable bump in spending in both April and May as Americans dipped into their tax refunds. Excluding sales at gas stations and auto dealers, retail sales in July fell 0.2%. Gas prices ticked up again to $4.08 per gallon on Friday, up from $3.85 a month ago, according to Motor Club AAA. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
A website claims to be able to tell you if your license plate has been tracked with flock cameras. Yeah. Here's the website, haveibeenflocked.com. That's the website. We looked at it a little bit earlier. It is free to use, no bells and whistles. This is a very simple search engine sort of thing. Now, keep in mind there's no independent verification that the website's searches results are actually accurate. And in fact, they list a whole bunch of reasons why you may type in your plate, get a result like mine did that said, I have not been found in the flock database. And then they say, oh, by the way, but you might actually be in there because of this, this, and this.
Yeah, from when I was going through some of the features in the frequently asked questions section, it looks like they are not doing an in-depth deep dive into this. It's more so this is just quickly what they can grab that's already public with it. But there is some good ways that the information has been organized and some interesting tidbits about that would be helpful for somebody interested to see how these flock cameras are operating and what's available to the public.
Yeah, so I mean, you can make what you will of it. Check it out if you want yourself and see what you think of it. I guess
I like it.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the DSA. We've talked a lot about the socialist wing of the Democratic Party and the fact that the far fringe left, those are the ones in charge right now of the Democratic Party. Well, another Democrat, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, was on CBS's Face the Nation. He's pushing back against that fringe left. Now, don't get me wrong. He's a leftist. He's definitely left of center. but he's not the fringe one. And it looks like he's trying to stake out any potential presidential run on being the one who's a normal human being who can speak to normal human beings.
I believe socialism is a failed experiment, but I do believe that we need to get results for the American people. And I think when you look at Democratic governors, you see those results. I've been proud to create more jobs than any other governor in our history.
Okay, now jobs and people are fleeing as fast as they can from places like California, Illinois, and New York. But sure, they've delivered great results.
Well, I enjoyed my time in Kentucky, I'll say that much. But yeah, he has to be careful when calling out some of the DSA nonsense, though, because they are a large enough group within the Democrats that they can be a spoiler in these elections.
Oh, I don't think he's going to get the nomination. Because if the Democratic Party just wanted to win, they would nominate somebody like Andy Beshear. I think he is absolutely electable, and I think any Republican nominee would have trouble beating somebody like Andy Beshear. But I don't think the Democrats will be smart enough to nominate him. I think they'll look for somebody far more fringe and leftist who gives the Republicans an opportunity to win in that race.
I see a lot of different groups mentioning AOC as potentially a front runner. I don't know what that would look like in terms of in an actual presidential race.
Right.
Kamala Harris has already said that she plans on maybe rerunning again. I think.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And then J.B. Pritzker, I think, is probably among the loons right now that would have the best shot against anybody on the right.
Yeah, you can't really sleep on his position in that race for the 2028. All right. After losing the first game of the series with the Cubs, the Cardinals came back and thumped the Cubs 2 games in a row. Saturday, of course, history was made. Joshua Baez, he's called up from Memphis from minor league, his first ever major league game at Wrigley Field on national television. His first 3 times to the plate, he hits a home run.
Wow.
That has never happened in Major League Baseball history. That is the first time that has ever happened.
That is incredible.
It's amazing. I mean, the Hall of Fame is like, give us some of your stuff. That has never happened before. Yesterday's final score at Wrigley Field was 11-4. Alec Burleson and Jordan Walker both had home runs. Division play continues today with a 12:40 game against the Reds in Cincinnati. Also, the Little League World Series gets underway this week.
Ooh.
Who doesn't love the Little League World Series?
I'm going to be completely honest. I had no idea that there was such a thing as a Little League World Series.
Oh, my goodness. It's massive. Yeah, people love the Little League World Series. You go to any sports bar or Buffalo Wild Wings or whatever, you're going to see the Little League World Series. They've been covering this past week, like all the teams around America in their tournament to get to the Little League World Series. So Little League World Series this week. My money is going to be on whatever team signs the most Japanese players. That's who I think is going to win.
Awesome.
I'm just pointing that out here. All right. Let's see here. Did I mention the Ladue Road thing already in this news dump? Not in the news dump, did I?
No, but
I mentioned
us peasants are not going to be allowed to drive
Yeah,
this road.
yeah. Public access to a large part of Ladue Road not allowed most of the week from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. all this week because of the BMW Golf Tournament at Bellerive Country Club. Access to Ladue between 270 and 141 restricted. The same thing goes for Mason Road between Conway Road and Hibbler Road. If you do not have the credentials basically handed out by BMW, if you do not have those, you will not be allowed to be on those public streets this week between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m.
I mean, I kind of want to try renting a BMW just to see if they let me through, but I don't know if I'm enough to risk that.
Yeah, I mean, all they're going to do is turn you around on there. But, yeah, so there's a very large part of the very swanky part of St. Louis County that we poors are just not going to be allowed on this week, at least from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. They'll go slumming after that.
Calling all